Good evening, everyone. I am Jeff McConey, and with me in the booth is Mr. Bon Satufa. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. For tonight's race, we are on round 3 of this event at the virtual Stafford Speedway, so we have seen who is strong week in and week out. This week, though, we have 5 new faces trying to race their way in after finishing in the top 5 on Wednesday night. It was a fan race. If you were involved, you know how difficult it is. 5 people ended up advancing. They will all have a chance to race their way into the feature event tonight alongside Stafford's fastest e-drivers. All Phases Renovations has joined us again in this fun, providing the drivers with another incentive besides pride: money. These 55 drivers will be fighting for a share of a $250 purse, with $150 going to our winner, $75 for second, and $25 for third. We saw last week how racing for money impacted the mindsets of these drivers, and we can expect more hard racing for this event here tonight. Last week's race was won by a Wednesday night winner, so will we see the same this week, or will a Stafford regular take home the money and prestige? We will have the same format tonight as last week for making the feature race, with 4 heat races and 2 consolation events. Those races are each 10 laps with caution laps not counting, so it's a war to survive as well as finish in those key front spots to advance to the feature. Remember, everyone, nobody is locked in here, and we could send any of those big names home. Now let's check out the last 5 laps of last week's race, where we saw a dramatic finish going into turn 3 with a bottom shot move. Mike Christopher Jr. gets the inside rolling, but Troy Tallman on the outside has got a great run. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it work on that outside as they're fanning out behind. Narducci gets pushed all the way to the outside, but they're side by side for the lead. Dylan Izzo thinks about going 3 wide and thinks better of it. He's going to sit right behind Christopher Jr. and hope the inside line works as well as it has all night. They're side by side for first right now, though, with just a couple laps left.
Got trouble in the middle of the pack. We'll see if that brings out the yellow, but right now up front, Mike Christopher Jr. is trying to get the lead from Tommy. He pushes up off of turn 2. They're 3 wide for the lead. Look at the inside. It's Dylan Izzo. Where did he come from? From third to first. He takes the lead. The battles for second as they cross the line to take 2 to go.
Mike Christopher Jr. has led every lap up to this one, but he only needs to lead one, the most important one, the last one, and right now he's sitting in third. 2 laps to go. Dylan Izzo started in 5th, coming all the way up to 1st right now. White flag is in the air. Oh my goodness, Dylan Izzo could win it, but Troy Tallman is certainly going to have something up his sleeve.
What's Troy Tallman going to do? You know the bottom shot move in turn 3 is an option. We'll see what now. There's half a lap to go. Tallman looks low. Izzo gives room. Tallman gets spot from behind by Christopher. They both push up. Christopher's got the lead. Christopher's going to win. Mike Christopher Jr. crosses the line and takes the win. He gave Tallman a bump. Tallman went up into Izzo, and Mike Jr. ends up in first. Holy smokes. We just got word, Jeff. We just got word. Mike Christopher Jr. has been penalized for over-aggressive driving. The winner is going to go to Matthew Kimball. Matthew Kimball, who came in from the Wednesday feature race, is going to win tonight. Mike Jr. has been disqualified. He's going to finish the back of the lead lap cars. Wow. Matthew Kimball is the winner.
If you thought that racing was good last week, then we are in for a fantastic show tonight. Thank you to All Phases Renovations for helping us put it on. Bonzo, why don't you give us a rundown of what we can expect to see here tonight?
Well, Jeff, obviously the talk of the town from last week's race was the DQ of Mike Christopher Jr. Obviously, he had dominated the whole race. Unfortunately, got bumped out of the way by Izzo off of turn 2 with a couple laps to go and decided he had the right to return the favor, this time to Tallman, and eventually led to that last lap wreck, and the wreck was the main reason why Christopher Jr. got DQ'd. Opinions are split on whether the DQ was warranted or not, but nonetheless, Mike Christopher Jr. told me that he's not surprised by the call, and in the end, we just got to get ready for this upcoming race. The second point I want to make is who's the next person from the fan race to step up. From Wednesday, we had Ryan Blanchard advance, we had Ryan Libby advance, Tyler Wood, Ryan Borges. They all advance, and Matthew Kimball, because of winning the feature race on Friday last week, he gets to race this week as well. So who of those fans or non-drivers at Stafford are going to step up this week, because they are all really fast. My last point, We've seen a theme from the last couple weeks. Track position is key, and these restarts are even more critical because of these equal setups. We saw Cory DiMatteo dominate most of the race. We've seen Mike Christopher Jr. dominate most of the race. We've seen Teddy Hodgdon dominate, and they all started at the front. But they all have lost lead at one point or another because of a restart. So these restarts are going to be crazy because of the fact that these guys know that once the field starts spreading out, it's going to be really hard to pass. Now, for those who are not familiar with the Stafford Motor Speedway, let's give you a preview of the track and show you how to run the Stafford Motor Speedway.
Welcome to Stafford. This half-mile oval was built in 1870 for a different type of horsepower, horse racing, and then automobile racing took over after that. This place is not as flashy or fancy as the half miles that the Cup cars go to today, but this busy oval can still put on a fantastic show full of action for the fans and intense competition for the drivers. Uniquely banked, it poses a challenge for all comers. Turns 1 and 2 are banked at 9 degrees, where turns 3 and 4 are banked a little less at 7 degrees. The apron here at Stafford is known for being very wide but flat. Only the bravest of drivers with the utmost grip can make passes down there. Short tracks equal close racing and usually leads to shorter tempers. Keeping calm at Stafford rewards the drivers. It's like the old racing expression, to finish first, you must first finish. Corner exit tends to be the most challenging place on the track, where the fast lane sweeps right out of the corners towards that wall that awaits you. Stafford is an old, worn-out surface, so managing the tires is also key to finding victory lane here. All in all, Stafford poses a fun challenge to drivers, and it's always sure to put on a great show. So settle in, buckle up, it's bound to be a great race.
Now, that's how you get around Stafford Motor Speedway. But Jeff, why don't you tell us some more about the details of the track and what is so special and unique in making this a driver's track?
You are absolutely right in this being a driver's track. It's half a mile long, it's 4 turns just like any oval, except it is 2 different degrees of banking. It's an 80-lap race here, and in turns 1 and 2, you have 9 degrees of banking to help you out, but in turns 3 and 4, you only get 7.5 degrees. Lots of legendary drivers have succeeded at Stafford. You have Ryan Preece, Ted Christopher, Mike Stefanik, Bob Potter, Bugsy Stevens, Richie Evans, and more. They all cut their teeth here and grew at this track. It's not an easy place to race. Right now, we have qualifying underway, though. Cassandra Cole is on the pole with an 18.822, but I see Mikey Flynn heading out to make his lap.
Yeah, Jacob Perry is also making a lap right now. That's the car you're looking at on the screen. Cassandra Cole, Travis Heidart, Ryan Borges, who was one of the people that advanced on Wednesday, Ryan Libby the same way, Aaron Plemons, Tyler Wood. Those 4 guys advanced from last week, and you had Ryan Blanchard, who dominated the fan race. He's obviously one to watch for. We'll see when he takes a lap how fast he will be. But Teddy Hodgdon now has the top lap at an 18.789. The cars are getting faster as there's more rubber being laid down. During practice, they were just running 19 flats. Now they're getting into the 18-second bracket, and we saw the top 20 in practice within a tenth of each other. The field just gets tighter and tighter every week as you look at Peter Benn, the 50 car, who was really fast a couple weeks ago, got caught in the middle of the pack last week and got into some trouble, got wrecked towards the end of the race, but he's looking for a little bit better luck this time around. Right now, he's trying to complete his lap and try to get up there. He is in the 10th spot on the qualifying order as qualifying comes to a close.
Ryan Blanchard is taking the pole with an 18.783, 0.005 of a second quicker than Teddy Hodgdon. So Ryan Blanchard is on the pole. But taking a look at the grid here for this first heat race, you have Ryan Blanchard in first, the Travis Heidart machine starting second, Andrew Muller in third, Matt Swanson will start fourth, Cory DiMatteo, who's been doing a lot of iRacing this week, starts fifth, Troy Tillman will grid up in sixth, Tony Membrino in seventh, Matt Vassar in eighth, Mikey Flynn in ninth, Marcello Rufrano will start 10th with Daltin McCarthy and Joseph Eilert behind him.
Now, different look for Troy Tillman, that 3 car, or in the 2 car, but he has the 3 car in the race, but he is registered as the 2 car. He's got a black and white and gold mix on this car, dark blue, I think. I don't know if it's quite black. So, new look for him. Ryan Blanchard has shown a lot of speed, and now he's starting first here in the heat race. He was really happy to get a chance to race against all the Stafford regulars. He's competed with some of them on iRacing, but he said it was surreal, according to his interview with Brittany Noodley on Racer Pro Weekly, in that he finally got the chance to compete against these regulars. For those who don't know Blanchard, he is a spotter for Steven Kopchik, and the first time that he and Kopchik ever worked together, they won. So he got to be a full-time spotter for that 21 SK team last week, and he had a really good run going last week, finished in second spot, looking to improve by one more come the feature. But first, he has to get in the feature because nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe here. Only the top 5 are going to advance from this race. Cory DiMatteo is going to be feeling the heat as he starts in that 5th spot, but everyone's times were so close together, I think everyone's got a good chance at it here. Right now, though, the 76 car is in that transfer spot, and he has to be careful and hold on to it, not let anyone get around him.
In that 3rd spot, you got Andrew Moeller. Moeller had a computer issue last week and couldn't compete, period, as a result, so he didn't even get a chance to qualify last Friday. So it's been a couple weeks for him competing these Stafford races, and he's hoping to get in here as the pace car pulls off. Ryan Blanchard and Travis Hydar, that 58 car has gotten faster every single week, continues to finish in the podium. We'll see what happens here as the green flag goes. A lot of bumping on the start, but we are underway. Side by side for the lead right now between Blanchard and Hydar as they head to turn 1.
They are side by side through the pack. Mikey Flynn gets into Travis Hydar. The 25 car goes around. Marcello Rufrano spins it off turn 2.
Yeah, and just like that, first corner, first caution. Tough luck for Rufrano. He hasn't really had much luck to begin with, and it continues in that 25 car. Different look for that SK Modified sophomore driver, and looking for more luck in the SK Modifieds this year. At the same time, looking for more luck in the SK Modifieds on the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway.
Luck has played a big factor in all of these races. It seems like you have to be good, but even more important than that, you have to be lucky. A lot of guys have been strong every week, week in and week out, and they've just been struggling really with the luck side. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time, it just happens, and that's all you can do.
Looking at the replay, it looked like Rufrano was coming down a bit, McCarthy was coming up a bit from the apron. They just kind of converged and it led to Rufrano spinning. I don't really think he hit anything hard though. Remember, there are no resets for these guys, so if their car's damaged, they got to go to the pits and take the time it requires to repair the car. And once you have a smoking engine, that's it. Your day is done. So there's no margin of error, and the caution laps do not count for these heat races. 10 green flag laps. So we have these 4 heats, the top 5 advance, and then we have 2 consolation races where the top 3 from each advance, helping compose the 26 car field for the feature.
It's a very, very difficult thing to do to advance to this feature because there are so many strong cars week in and week out. And if you're in a heat race with a lot of tough guys, you could be the 6th fastest driver in your heat, the 6th fastest driver overall, theoretically, and you might not make the feature. It just depends what you get in alongside you in the heat races. It's not easy to do here, so everyone is fighting for every position. You see the 26 car there, sort of towards the back, Joseph Eilert. He is with Spark VR. He is a worker over there, one of the founders, I believe, last I was told, and he is racing there. So Spark VR, they are one of our sponsors. Thank you so much to them, and good luck to Joseph Eilert on making it into this feature event.
So we're going to come down here, see if we can get one to go, and they come to a line. They are doubling up, so they will be going green this time by. Nothing really changed in the field. You still got Blanchard in 1st, Travis Hydar 2nd, Moeller in 3rd. You got Swanson in 4th, DiMatteo 5th, Talman 6th, Tony Membrino 7th, Matt Baxter 8th, Mikey Flynn 9th, Daltin McCarthy 10th, Joseph Eilert 11th, Marcello Rufrano looks like his car is okay. He'll be in the back of the grid as they come down to take the green flag, still in the first lap.
The advantage at Stafford Motor Speedway is on the inside line, and you see Ryan Blanchard with Wolfpack Motorsports written across that back bumper is now side by side. They're going down the straightaway and into turn 1. Everyone here side by side. Nobody's got a big advantage though.
Off of turn 2, Blanchard does clear with the lead, so that will be for 2nd, but we got trouble in the back of the pack. A couple cars spinning into the infield grass. We got 3 cars kind of trapped in there. Mikey Flynn is one of them, Daltin McCarthy, Joseph Eilert, and Tony Membrino among those involved. So once again, cannot get past the first turn without some contact, eventually leading to an accident.
That was the fault of Troy Tallman there, getting into the back bumper of the 44. Tony Membrino, just the tiniest touch, sent that 44 around, and everybody got wrapped up. But let's take a look at the onboard here for Tallman.
Yeah, it looks like slight contact there in the left rear, but that's all it takes. And Tallman, you can see him wheeling that car in the grass, kept it straight. Another guy that got a good piece of that one was Matt Baxter in the 11 car. He actually climbed the wall in turn 2, We'll see how much damage that car has. Jacob Perry also got a piece of that, I believe, as well. So, oh wait, no, Jacob Perry's not in this race. He and Talman have very similar looking cars, so I apologize for that. But yeah, Matt Vassar did get the wall pretty good off of turn 2, so that wreck involved pretty much half the field.
At least half the field. You saw Matt Vassar, the Slim Reaper, he just caught that right front and hit it hard. You have to wonder if that's going to impact the handling of his car here. Once they get back under green is when he'll know, but until then, he's sort of just sitting in that car right now wondering, is this going to drive the way I'm expecting? What's going to happen here? You really don't know until these cars are up to speed how the handling might be affected.
One guy who's loving these restarts right now and the cautions that come out of it is Cory DiMatteo, who's in that final transfer spot because these guys don't have a chance to make any moves and make any passes, so he still remains in that final transfer position in 5th. Troy Talman has been given a black flag by our race director, Dylan Kopech. He'll be going to the back of the line. Dylan Kopech doesn't mess around, Jeff. If you make contact and cause an accident, there will be a chance of you being penalized.
He's known for ruling very fairly, but his rulings are always consistent, and that's the thing. And they're consistently harsh. He doesn't want any of these drivers out there causing accidents. And if you do cause an accident, you're going to pay the consequences for it. So love him or hate him, Dylan Kopech is going to be behind the controls here, and we think he's been doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, he's done a good job, and he's making sure these guys don't get, too rowdy and too excited and cause contact. And as a race director, no matter what, someone's going to be unhappy at you. And I'm pretty sure Scott Tapley can relate, being the race director at the real staff at Motor Speedway. By the way, Bottom Shot podcast just came out for Scott Tapley. Paul Arute got a chance to talk to him for about an hour. Check that out on the Stafford Speedway YouTube page. But right now, they're coming to the green, Jeff.
Oh, a checkup on the outside causes all sorts of mayhem, and Ryan Blanchard takes advantage of it. Right now, sitting in 5th, though, is that 3 car of Matt Swanson, driving it like crazy. Matt Vassar in the 25. Matt Vassar goes around after getting touched by Marcello Rufrano. That looks to be the end of the Slim Reapers race here. He'll have to race his way in through the conti.
Yeah, Daltin McCarthy also got a big piece of that one. His car is smoking heavily, so Tony Membrino also has a very badly damaged machine. He's smoking as well, so Tony Membrino and Daltin McCarthy are probably done for the rest of this heat race. So unfortunate for them, they really haven't had a chance to do anything. They got stuck in the back of the pack, and they just keep getting involved in wrecks as Matt Vassar just clobbered the turn 2 wall. He hit the wall hard the last accident and got some air. This time he did a full 360 figure skating-esque type move, catching the wall off the 2.
A beautiful pirouette, a 10 out of 10, I would say, but a 0 out of 10 on his chances of finishing the race here tonight, unfortunately. But making the consolation event is definitely going to be interesting now. He's going to have to race his way in if he's going to do it into the feature here tonight. So we'll see, but he could be one of the names we send home. Remember, nobody is locked in.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Vassar and Flynn were side by side off of turn 2 and they got together. I mean, it's just a racing incident. I'm really interested as to why Tony Membrino is still out there on the track with his car smoking the way it is, because it is smoking really badly. But he's staying out there. There's his car. You can see the trail of smoke behind it. And usually that means your engine is blowing, that you're done. Daltin McCarthy's in the pits right now, so is Vassar. But Tony Membrino's staying out there. Not quite sure why.
The strategy could be to get as many laps in as possible. Even with that damaged engine, he could be scored ahead, and his engine's just blown up, so he's going to pull it off to the side here and tow it back. But Tony Membrino, I think he's trying to get a couple more spots to get a better starting spot in the consolation event. It could be a little bit of strategy.
That's a good point. That is a good point, because the finish of these heat races do lead to the eventual lineups of the consolation races. Right now, the format here for the restart has been slightly altered. As they come down to the line, they take 1 to go. It will be a single file restart because of the accidents that have been happening. So we'll see what happens here. This is actually an advantage for the leader, Blanchard, but it's also an advantage for the 3 car of Matt Swanson, because the fact that he's not double filed, there's a less of an opportunity for the 6th place car, Marcello Rufrano, to make a move unless he gets an incredible restart.
An incredible restart is what it takes. You'll see they're all the way on the outside now. That's so they don't get passed on the start. They run the wall. Travis Hydar gets touched by Cory DiMatteo in the 76. They manage to keep it together. Matt Swanson is in that key transfer spot, and Andrew Muller, Marcello Rufrano is going to want it badly. He is sitting in 6th. only 5 will advance here. We'll see if we see a bottom shot move coming up shortly.
Yeah, they were 3 wide in the back of the pack as well, so they're still not taking it easy, but we're still good right now. The battle is for third as Haidar and DiMatteo make a little bit of contact. Marcello drives it deep into turn 1, gets into Swanson. Swanson trying to save the car, and somehow he does. He keeps it going off of turn 2, and we stay green.
Well, we'll see what race control has to say. Swanson blocked all the way low, and Marcello Rufrano ran out of room to save it. So now he's a little bit further back. He's working his way around Mikey Flynn right now, so he's in a lot of trouble. Looking back to the front, though, you see Ryan Blanchard is strong up there. Andrew Muller doesn't need to do anything crazy here. The top 5 are going to advance. As long as he's in the top 5, he'll be all right.
Yeah, the battle is for 5th spot right now. Marcello got wide in 3 and 4, and that allowed Talman to get underneath him, so they battle for that final transfer spot. There's Joseph Eiler right behind him in that red 26 car. Rufrano gets a little bit loose off of turn 2, but he is holding his own the outside line as they stay side by side for that final transfer spot.
Troy Tallman is probably having nightmares about last week where he got slammed from behind by Mike Jr. making that bottom shot move. I don't think he wants to stay down there any longer than he needs to, but for the win up here near the front, Ryan Blanchard is going to come off a turn 4 with the car length over Andrew Muller. He's going to win his heat race and lock it in on the pole for tonight's race. Andrew Muller in 2nd, Cory DiMatteo in 3rd, Haidar in 4th, and getting that final spot is Troy Tallman.
Yeah, Rufrano pushed up in turns 3 and 4, and that allowed Talman to clear the 25 car, and the 25 car. The 26 of Joseph Eilert tried to cross underneath Talman, but couldn't quite make it work. So the last transfer spot does go to, wow,
Troy Tallman.
Completely blanked out there. Talman, yes, thank you. Sorry about that. But nonetheless, we're getting ready for the second heat race. Looking at the lineup for that one. Teddy Hodgdon will be starting at the front. He's been fast every single week, so no surprise there. Starting in 2nd spot is Ryan Borges, a former pro racer in the Coca-Cola iRacing series, the Cup Series eSports series that iRacing does every other week. Peter Bennett starts in the 3rd spot, Ryan Fern in 4th, George Bessette Jr. in 5th, Robert Stirk in 6th, Timmy Catalano 7th. He finally changed his name from Amy Catalano, so he is Timmy Catalano even in the server. Dan Butler in 8th, looking for some better luck. Oh, okay, so I guess I'll give you the credit. David Arute in 9th, Joey Ternulo in 10th, Josh Carey in 11th, and JB Fortin in 12th. That's your starting lineup for heat number 2, and hopefully things get a little bit smoother in this one compared to the first one, Jeff.
Hopefully, yeah, we got Timmy Catalano's name updated on our roster, so now we know. Ryan Borges, he's a senior champ kart racer, has raced on the mini mile at Stafford on Monday nights and races at Pomfret Speedway, where he is a former senior champ animal division champion. He's also the defending Northern Senior Champ Kart Series champion. And right now, if you take a look on that rear deck lid, he's running the logo for that series there. That is all information courtesy of Mark Warnock, who helps us out every Friday night at Stafford Motor Speedway. Can't wait to get back and see him at the track. Can't wait to get back and see all of you. And Bonta, it's going to be great getting back to the track. But until then, we can enjoy this virtual racing here with Teddy Hodgdon taking them to the green flag.
Yeah, the final transfer spot is George Bessette Jr., but watch Ryan Furr in that 4th spot. That outside line has been snake bit before. As the green flag comes out, we are underway in the second heat. Back in the pack, one car tries to make it 3 wide. I believe that was Kyle Johnson. In the turn number 1, David Arute gets hammered from behind, but they keep going right now. One car does get around in the back of the pack, though, and that is David Arute. He did spin it around, but we stay green. Up front, Teddy Hodgdon has the lead as they complete lap 1.
I jumped in there expecting a wreck. The 34 car, Robert Stirk, got hit from behind and was about halfway around before saving it, and George Bessette Jr. got into the back end of Ryan Fern, gave him a couple shoves and gave him room to save it. That allowed that 34 car to jump in and take 5th from him. So right now, he is feeling the heat in that transfer spot. But he's got George Bessette Jr. right there on his back bumper. He's going to do everything he can to get around him and make his way into the feature.
Behind them, Joey Ternulo and Timmy Catalano battle for position. They made a little bit of contact. Timmy went wide off of turn 2. But as you mentioned, looking up in the front right now, Robert Stirk does have that transfer spot. Bessette did get pushed wide the last lap. He's going to try and catch up to that white car in the 5th position. Looking up front, though, Teddy Hodgdon continues to lead. Peter Bennett in 2nd. Behind him, 3rd, Ryan Borges. He is fast. He's been fast on iRacing for a long time, so keep an eye on him. I saw him in the Wild Thing Cards season finale when he competed, and he was putting on a show, and he led for most of that race, and it was fun to see him wheel out there. Those guys in the carts, man, They have some guts. Those things, they are wheeling it through the mini-mile Stafford Motor Speedway, and it's fun to watch through the bumps and the undulations on the track. They can keep control of that kart, and it's very impressive.
It's not at all an easy thing to do, but let's keep a focus on this battle here for second place. Ryan Borges wants it from Peter Bennett. We were riding along with him for a couple laps there. He's right on that back bumper, but being fast enough to catch someone here is a whole lot different than being fast enough to pass someone. You can get to that back bumper, but if you can't get a run off the corner and stay side by side and get that important inside line here at Stafford, you're never going to get around it. So it looks like Ryan Borges right now is settled into third, about 3/4 of a car length off of Peter Bennett.
Right now, the field is spread out pretty good. They're all single file. When they come back to the line, there'll be 3 laps to go. Robert Stirk in that final transfer spot has about 4 or 5 car lengths back to George Bessette Jr., who's actually getting a little bit of pressure from Dan Butler in that 10 car. You're on board the gearbox of Ryan Fern looking back at Robert Stirk. Everybody's minding the P's and Q's right now. They've been clean. The only issue we had so far is David Arute's spin in turn 2 in the first lap that did not bring out the caution. And now the caution does come out. And that's Josh Carey in the back straightaway. He has spun, and he lays sideways across the track in turn 2. That does bring out the yellow. I mentioned Kyle Johnson's name earlier. That was actually Josh Carey. They have similar paint schemes, and Josh does tow his car back into pits, and we'll see what happened. He slammed the wall of a turn 2, and one car whizzed right by him and barely missed him. I don't know if that was David Arute that was behind him. Looking at the replay right now, Carey hit the wall in turn 1. He is going pretty slow, and he gets sideways off of turn 2 and slams the wall, and David Arute just missed him. I mean, you can't fit a piece of paper between Carey and David. Kudos to that 75 car for somehow avoiding Carey, because that could have been catastrophic for the hopes of Arute in making the race through the heats.
David Arute is in a tough position right now, but take a look at that. Maybe we can get an on board with him for that event. We're not sure on it, but he just barely. Let's take a look here right now. Thank you to our director, Sean, for that. Coming along, riding on board with him. He's coming off of turn 4 right there, going down the front stretch, sort of cruising by himself out there. I think that's after the incident. Oh darn. Well, take our, hang on, we might have it actually. We are working on it. Now we are up to speed with David Arute, diving it hard into turn 1, doing everything he can. He sees Josh Carey in front of him, sees him go around, and just zoop right through. Barely makes it by. Barely nicked him, but man, how about that for heads-up driving? Give the award for eyes on the prize to David Arute. Barely makes his way.
Now he's got a chance here. We'll see what happens. There's 3 laps to go, and with the laps winding down, there's always a chance of chaos happening in front of David and helping him gain some position. Looking at the full field rundown, though, Teddy Hodgdon is the leader as they double up getting ready for the restart. Peter Bennett is in second, Ryan Borges in third, Ryan Fern in fourth, Robert Stirk has that final transfer spot in fifth, George Bessette Jr. in sixth, Dan Butler in the 10 car this time, instead of his normal 33, is in the 7th spot, Joey Ternulo in 8th, Timmy Catalano in 9th, JB Fortin in 10th, David Arute in 11th, and Josh Carey's in pit road right now. He is in the final spot. Looks like he'll be out of it, though, as they get ready for the green flag.
5th place is where everyone is watching. A couple laps to go here. The inside line gets a great jump. Ryan Fern is stuck on the outside behind Peter Bennett. He looks low. He's going to get that line. He's there on Bennett. So is Ryan Borges. He's going to clear the 50. But right now, Ryan Fern is feeling a little bit of heat from that 34 car of Robert Stirk. Thought about going 3 wide and thought better of it. That 34 car is the 5th and final spot as he gets into Bessette, and Bessette's in the wall.
Yeah, huge accident. That's Joey Ternulo that's flipping upside down. Robert Stirk pushed up off of turn 4 and got into Bessette, and that's what started that one. And Joey Ternulo was an innocent victim. As the yellow comes out, we look at the replay again. Bessette was holding his own in that 6th position, trying to take that 5th spot from Stirk, but as you see, Robert, holy cow, Timmy Catalano. My goodness, that looked like separate incidents. Timmy Catalano just plowed the wall at full speed. My goodness, we're riding on board Timmy right now. Last week he flipped twice during the feature and heats and the consies. It looks like he got hooked. I wonder if he got hooked with Ternulo there trying to avoid the wreck and just hammered the wall. So that's 3 flips in 2 weeks for Timmy Catalano, that 54 car. And there he is smoking. He is done. But meanwhile, green-white checker for the heat here. And even though things started off smooth, Jeff, it's gotten a little bit rougher here in the second heat.
It certainly has. I think we're going to end up playing a game here with all of the amazing people watching on Facebook, on YouTube. Whoa, we're not on Facebook right now. We're on YouTube.
Come
Man,
on,
oh
Jeff.
man. I know I've been so excited for this race. My mind is fried. So I have the wrong streaming platform that we're on. So thank you to everyone that's tuning in and watching. We want to hear about your favorite drivers, who you're pulling for this race. But I think we're gonna end up playing a game with them where every time Timmy Catalano ends up on his roof, you go and get something from the impromptu double hook bar, which is now known as your refrigerator. So we'll see what ends up happening. That's 3 times in 2 weeks. I'm not sure what's really going on there. We don't see these cars flipped over all that much.
It's just his luck, I guess. That can happen with these open wheel cars on this track. When they hit the wall, they can climb up the wall, and it's one thing to hit the wall. Timmy got hooked, and it looked like he was trying to knock down the wall, so he hit that really hard. It's going to be a green-white checker here. It looks like it'll be single file restarts again, just like the first heat. So as we look down at the rundown, Teddy Hodgdon is the leader. Ryan Borges did move up to second, getting past Bennett on the restart before that crash happened. Bennett runs in third. Ryan Fern, he's been doing a good job getting to that bottom line of the restarts. Now he doesn't have to worry about getting to the bottom line because it is a single file restart now. He runs in fourth. Robert Stirk in that final transfer spot in fifth. Dan Butler in sixth. Joey Ternulo in 7th, JB Fortin in 8th, David Arute in 9th, George Bessette Jr., Timmy Catalano, and Josh Carey are all in the pits. Those 3 guys are going to have to go for the consolation race and try and advance to the feature.
They are going to have to race the way in through the concede. They are now going to single file restarts here. So right now they are coming to a green-white checkered. It's a single file restart. Teddy Hodgdon in first, Ryan Borges in second, and Peter Bennett in third. Sitting in fifth is scored as George Bessette Jr., but last I saw he was on pit road where he still is. Robert Stirk is going to line up fifth, and he's got that 10 machine of Dan Butler right behind him. He's going to want to race his way in. Only 5 make it, but they're coming to the green. Let's see who takes home that 5th and final transfer spot.
Yeah, the green flag comes out. Good restart for Hodgdon as they head to turn 1. This is a green-white checker, so it's a 2-lap dash to the end here. Robert Stirk in that final transfer spot. No pressure behind him. He's got about a car length on the car behind him, and Dan Butler in the 10. As they come off of 4, the white flag comes out. 1 lap to go. In the back, JB Fortin side by side with Joey Ternulo, but that doesn't matter in the big picture. The top 5 is what matters most.
Ryan Fern gives a tap to Peter Bennett and gets him up out of the line. He's been warned by race control to be careful and not pull a move like that again. Peter Bennett is looking like he's going to come in fifth, but Teddy Hodgdon is going to come home in first, followed by Ryan Borges in second, Ryan Fern in third, Robert Stirk in fourth, and Peter Bennett squeaks home fifth.
Squeaking in more ways than one. He caught the wall off of turn 4 and lost some ground to Butler. Butler thought he had a chance at looking to the inside of Bennett, but he ran out of time. So Butler's going to have to try and get in through the consolation race. Getting ready for the 3rd heat race out of 4. Mike Christopher Jr. will be starting first in that one. Ryan Libby in second. Jacob Perry in third. Doug Meservey Jr. in fourth. Matthew Kimball starts 5th. Jon Puleo 6th. Tyler Leary 7th. Mark Alkas 8th. Pete Thicket 9th. RJ Surdell in 10th. It says Dylan Kopech is 11th, but he is the race director. He's not competing. So Mark Burke will be the last guy in the lineup for heat number 3. I want to talk quickly about Ryan Libby. He has been fast on iRacing for many years. The Plainville, Connecticut native has been doing iRacing for 10 years. He's actually competing in Road to Pro, which is a way of getting drivers up to the eventual pro eNASCAR or any e-racing series on iRacing. But Ryan Libby has been known crewing for Eric Byrne's SK team. And if you look at Ryan Libby's car, it looks very similar to Eric Byrne's SK Modified. He's been with that team for 9 years, spotting and being on the crew. Now for 2020, he is also going to be spotting for Tony Membrino in that 44 SK Modified. Libby used to race in quarter midgets in Meriden, Connecticut, and Thompson also competed nationwide for 10 years. And now here he is, a familiar face at Stafford as a crew member, and now competing on the iRacing circuit here at Stafford Motor Speedway, and he is going to be someone to watch because he has shown a lot of speed. He was very fast in the Wednesday fan race last week, but caught up in a restart wreck, ending his chances of getting into the Friday race. But now he's got a chance to compete against the Stafford regulars, and don't be surprised if he's one of those guys that'll be up front competing at the end.
Well, everyone that is following along and watching this race, we want to know who you're pulling for. But first of all, we have to thank our sponsors. All Phases Renovations is the title sponsor for tonight's event. They put up a purse of $250 with $150 that going to the winner. They're in Southeastern Mass. Go ahead and give Larry a call for all your outdoor construction needs, such as patios, pool renovations, outdoor bars and kitchens, decks, pergolas, more. Go ahead and visit them on Facebook at All Phases Renovations or give them a call at 508-332-6316. Like I said, follow them on Facebook. Check out some of their past work. It is awesome stuff. Thank you to them. Thank you to Napa, who's also always helping us out. We're back up to the front. Mike Christopher Jr. is on the point. Let's see what he does on this restart. He's waiting, and he goes, and everybody gets a shove from behind, it looks like. They're side by side going into turn one, but advantage to the inside line at Stafford. But right there, Ryan Libby's making the outside work. He's holding on tight against Mike Christopher Jr.
It's a full speed pace lap right now, 2x2, the first two rows right now. Christopher does get a bit of an edge between turns 3 and 4. He will clear Libby for the lead in turn 1. Libby in second, Jacob Perry in third. The battles for the fifth spot. In that fifth position, the final transfer spot is Matthew Kimball battling against the 67 car of Doug Meservey Jr.
Right there, Matthew Kimball works his way on the bottom and pushes up a bit. That's the second time the 67's been hit, and he gets into Tyler Leary just a tiny bit, but they both hold on to it. Right now, that's a battle for sixth, and the 89 and the 99 get together. RJ Surdell gets involved. Cars are spinning in the back, but it looks like there's no caution that's going to come out. Race control isn't going to throw anything, but let's take a look back at the front here. They've single filed out, and right there, you see Mike Christopher Jr. doing what he does best, leading the pack, but he's not going to have an easy job thanks to Ryan Libby. He's doing everything he can to get around.
Yeah, tough luck for Surdell. Thicket and Alkas getting involved in that turn 2 spin. You're riding on board Ryan Libby right now in that 46 car, right at the back bumper, Mike Christopher Jr. Right now, that final transfer spot goes to Matthew Kimball, the defending winner of the 3-race series we're doing here at the SK Modified. He won last week after advancing through the fan race and gets a chance to do it again this week. As we look through the top 5, you're getting a look right now at Matthew Kimball in that 23 car. The field has singled out after that spin in turn 2. A lot of space between Kimball and Tyler Leary, who's in that 6th spot. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to try and get to that final transfer position.
Certainly does. He's got about a second back, or up to Matthew Kimball, and he's losing ground, unfortunately. So it's looking like Tyler Leary might have to race his way in, assuming there's no caution. Right there, he is going at an absolutely astronomical pace, Mike Christopher Jr. He is making sure that Ryan Libby doesn't get a chance to get up to him, make a crazy move going into turn 3, a bottom shot move. Mike Christopher Jr. loves to pull those moves, just like every driver here at Stafford, but just like everyone else, he hates when it gets pulled on him. He needs about a car length ahead of him.
Jon Puleo is blinking a bit. He's having some network issues, and if a driver does have too many issues with their internet connection, they can be black flagged, so we gotta keep an eye on that. Puleo is running in the 4th position right now. As you're looking at the onboard of Jacob Perry, you see the right front spring and shock and the whole suspension. He runs in the 3rd position. He was pretty fast last week, but he was having some trouble getting caught in mid-pack, and he eventually did work his way back up towards the top 10, but he had to work his way towards that point. This week so far, he's showing a lot of speed as they come up turn 4 and take the white flag. Mike Christopher Jr. is the leader right now. Libby in 2nd. In 3rd is Jacob Perry, Jon Puleo 4th. Matthew Kimball in a solid 5th spot with plenty of room to spare.
Tyler Leary is not gaining on Matthew Kimball at all. He's running actually about 2/10 slower than him. Not sure if there's an issue or something going on with him. Mike Christopher Jr. coming to the line to win it with Ryan Libby finishing 2nd, Jacob Perry 3rd, Jonathan Puleo in 4th, and Matthew Kimball in 5th. Those 5 will all advance to the feature with Tyler Leary, Doug Meservey, RJ Surdell, Pete Thicket, and Mark Alkas all needing to race their way in through the consolation event.
Now we get ready for the 4th heat race, the final heat race before our 2 consolation events. On the pole, how about Cassandra Cole? She had a really good lap during qualifying. She'll start on the pole for this heat race. Bryan Narducci in 2nd, Aaron Plemons, one of the guys who advanced from Wednesday's fan race, in 3rd, Tyler Wood likewise in 4th, Kenny Horton in 5th, first time seeing him, Glen Reen in 6th, so I guess he made it, didn't see him during practice, so he's here. 7th spot is Kyle Johnson, Paul Buzel in 8th, Justin Bren 9th, Kevin Crosby 10th, Andrew Less in 11th. I want to quickly talk about Aaron Plemons, Montville, Connecticut native, 16 years old. He drives Limited Sportsman's up at Thompson. Kind of went through a personal circumstance. He recently lost his brother, Brandon Plemons Jr. just about within the last month, and it's been hard for him, but he says iRacing is a way, since we're not racing in real life, iRacing is a big way for him to heal, and he's really excited to compete here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway at least, against the Stafford regulars. And he had a chance to make the Friday event last week, but he got spun by Borges on a green-white checker while running in the top 3. But this week he's in, and he's looking to make the most out of it right now. Second-generation driver, his father, Brandon Plemons Sr., has 2 championships at Waterford in the mini stocks and street stocks as well. Aaron Plemons looking to continue on the family tradition. Tyler Wood, also coming in from the Wednesday race. Palmer, Massachusetts native, 27 years old. He's a crew chief for Gary Patnode, who you see in the limited late model division, and Justin Bren as well when he races. Justin Bren racing part-time. He got started back in 2009, now crews for Justin Bren and Gary Patnode. As they come off of turn 4, though, those two look to advance. They've been fast these last couple weeks. As the green flag comes out, Cassandra Cole leads them to the line.
Glen Reen was using that bumper before he even got to the green flag. He's riding that outside right now, and he's someone that will always put on a show. He's got a paint scheme true to real life. Right now, though, he's sitting in 5th, and he makes the outside work. He's quick out there. He's gaining on Bryan Narducci, who got all bent out of shape. And right now, Glen Reen at the top of 3 wide and barely misses a spinning 89 car. How close can you get? 88, excuse me.
Yeah, that was Kyle Johnson, Paul Buzel that spun around the front straightaway. So the caution does come out here in the first lap. Cassandra Cole actually got into the side of Bryan Narducci, causing Narducci to lose the last spots. If you look at the replay, Reen pushed up trying to avoid the 0-1. They got 3 wide and they just ran out of space. 3 wide normally doesn't work here at Stafford, Jeff, and it shows then.
Yeah, Glen Reen barely got through it. That was as tight as you can get without really hitting anything. Let's talk a little bit more about Glen Reen. You see him in that 17 car. You might have heard us mention the words Reen Acres before, not really understood what we were talking about. That is that big grassy area near turn 1. He'll probably end up driving through it just to show us that he's paying attention, as he usually does. We call it Reen Acres because he is not afraid to go down into the grass. He's going a little bit lower here. I think he's going to do it. Let's see if he's listening. Glen Reen is. There he goes through Reen Acres to show us where it is. Right there. Mr. Glen Reen, folks. The Horsepower Hill Farms on that back bumper. He is not afraid to use every tiny bit of that car to get around somebody. I think if you were to add spikes and everything else, he would be in a Mad Max superstar. Because right there, he is not afraid to use that bumper to get around everyone else. I think his mentality is, they put Nerf bars on this car for a reason. I might as well use them.
Yeah, Glen Reen actually messaged me earlier before his heat race saying, "What's up, buddy? You ready to mow the lawn?" So you knew it was coming. Kevin Crosby in that 33 car, a couple cars behind Glen Reen, also did the same thing. He was in the grass doing the same thing that Glen was doing. So he's not the only one. We've seen Phil Jacques do it before in place of Glen Reen when he wasn't racing because of his computer issues. So I guess it's contagious when it comes to Reen Acres and other people want to do it. Quick mention though, Matt Vassar, who slammed the wall for turn 2, he said he had a technical issue that caused his computer screen to black out and that he hit the wall off of turn 2 because of that. So tough luck for him. Hopefully he'll get it all situated before the consolation race. We'll have to wait and see though. But looking up at the front, they're doubling up, getting ready for the restart here. We only completed 1 lap. Caution laps do not count. Cassandra Cole has had a couple really good runs, and she gets faster every week, as shown in qualifying. She will lead them down to the green flag. Aaron Plemons in the 2nd spot. Very similar paint scheme to Doug Meservey Jr. Good luck distinguishing those two. Bryan Narducci in 3rd after getting knocked up the track by Cole in the first lap off of turn 4. Tyler Wood in 4th. The last transfer spot right now goes to Kenny Horton in 5th. Glen Reen's looking to take that in 6th. Justin Bren 7th. Kevin Crosby 8th. Kyle Johnson in 9th. And the last car is Paul Buzel. He's in the pits. He'll have to wait for a consolation race to get into the feature. The green flag is out. Cassandra Cole gets the jump as the top 4 goes single file quickly. Nope, Narducci looks low. Aaron Plemons will give Narducci the space as they battle for 2nd off of turn 2.
There's a battle for 5th with Glen Reen on the outside. Don't forget about him. He wants to be one of these top 5 guys. They're the ones that make it. He goes low off of turn 4. My goodness, holds onto it somehow and throws a block on the 66. And he's still right up near the bumper of the 19. He drives that car with everything and overdrives a little bit. Holds on to it. I cannot believe this man. He is wheeling it like crazy. But right now, he's going to have a lot of work if he wants to get up to that top 5. Kenny Horton is sitting in 5th, and they are single file 1st through 5th.
One car caught the wall off of turn 4 in the back of the pack. That was Kevin Crosby. He loses a lot of ground as a result. That was a good save by Glen Reen, but as you mentioned, he has lost that 5th and final transfer spot, and he's got a lot of work to do. Right now, that final transfer spot goes to Kenny Jordan in the 19 car. He runs in 5th spot. Narducci did take the 2nd position from Aaron Fleming, so he runs in the 2nd spot. Fleming's 3rd, Tyler Wood 4th, Kenny Horton 5th. Justin Bren about 6 or 7 car lengths behind Horton right now. He's got some work to do. Glen Reen, we've seen him do some dive bomb moves before. In fact, last week in the heat race, we saw him do a dive bomb move to get into the top 5. We'll see if he does it again, but he's going to need a caution, it looks like, as we have 4 laps to go, because the field is singled out right now.
Fastest car on track in 3rd position. Aaron Clemens is faster. Well, he was faster than Bryan Narducci. Right now, they are about identical in terms of lap times. And Cassandra Cole is actually running about half a tenth slower than these guys. But it's like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to be faster than them. You just have to be fast enough that they can't pass you. And I know that sounds strange, but being fast enough to catch somebody is not the same as being fast enough to get around them. They can get right up to your bumper and they can beat it until it falls off. But until they can get around you, you're still the leader, and that's all you have to do.
There's 2 laps to go right now, and you just got to use your head if you're that top 4. They're all nose to tail, but there's no reason to try to pull off anything fancy. The way you are right now, you're into the feature, and that's all that matters. They're going to come off of turn 4 and take the white flag for the final heat race. Narducci has caught up to Cole right on the back bumper of that 09 car. Does give a little bit of shot to Cassandra there. I mean, Cassandra did get into Narducci back at the start of the race, so you could say it's justified a little bit. Narducci does look a little bit low in turn 3. Cassandra's not really trying to cut him off, but off of turn 4, Narducci gets a little bit loose, and Cassandra Cole will take the heat. Narducci in 2nd, Aaron Clemens in 3rd, Tyler Wood 4th, and Kenny Horton will transfer in the final spot in 5th. Everybody else will have to wait for the 2 consolation races that are coming up next.
You know, I've been doing a lot of iRacing myself over this past week, and I actually did some racing with Bryan Narducci and Cory DiMatteo. We were at Iowa, and I don't know if we'll have a highlight posted on social media or something, but it was amazing. I managed to Bryan Narducci. I took it 3 wide. I threw the car in the middle and worked my way around. Didn't make many friends, and I'm sure he thought a little bit less of me after that move. But if you see these guys out there on iRacing, make sure to say hello. They are out there practicing, having a good time. This week, you'll probably find them over at the USA International Speedway, the now demolished USA Speedway, racing the tour mods in the official series. I've seen Cory DiMatteo there a couple times. Right now, though, we are coming to consolation event number 1. Joseph Eilert, a worker over at Spark VR, one of the founders, is going to be starting on the pole with Tyler Leary. He does double duty every Friday night in a late model and an SK modified. He will be starting 2nd. Marcello Rufrano in 3rd. Doug Meserve in 4th. Matt Swanson starts 5th. RJ Surdell in 6th. Mikey Flynn starts 7th with Pete Thickett in 8th. Row 5 has Tony Membrino in 9th. Mark Alkas in 10th. The Slim Reaper, Matt Vassar, looks like he's come back from his computer issues, starts 11th. And Dylan Kopech is working race control, and he will not be starting this event tonight. But if he were to race, he would be starting 12th, with Daltin McCarthy rounding out the field in 13th. Only the top 3 are going to advance from this race, though, so it's going to be a whole lot more interesting, having only 3 spots that you need to be in versus the 5 that we've seen in these heats.
Yeah, Marcello Rufrano, who's got that final spot to transfer right now, you know he's not going to be easy. He's been racing hard during these heat races the last couple of weeks. He had a chance to advance in his heat earlier, got pushed up the track a little bit, and ended up finishing in the 6th spot, so he's got one more chance here, and he's motivated to say the least. He's looking to get up there. The driver from North Haven, Connecticut, kind of like undulating back and forth. They're all doing that. Joseph Eilert looking for a big chance here starting on the pole. Of course, track position is going to be so critical. Caution laps do not count, so if there is a wreck, the laps will not count. But it's the same 10 laps, but a whole lot more on the line because only 3 get in as the pace car pulls off. Tyler Leary looking for a little bit more luck as well. He had a good time in his first attempt at Stafford. Not as much luck afterwards. A lot of bumping on the start, but the green flag is out and we get going cleanly. Side by side into turn number 1, Joseph Eilert will get the edge, it looks like, as Tyler Leary pushes wide in turn 2. It's going to be Tyler Leary battling Rufrano for that 2nd spot, and that 67 car, Doug Meserve, is right there as well.
Don't count it. There goes Joseph Eilert at the front of the field, goes around. Everyone gets all checked up, working their way through, snaking their way through. Mikey Flynn worked his way through that somehow. My goodness, let's get an onboard with him when we get a chance. That was absolutely phenomenal. We saw the wreck happen right at the front, snaking their way through those couple drivers here. Let's take a look. Just the 25, the slightest touch to the 26 car, Joseph Eilert, sent him around, and just mayhem ensued. A lot of cars involved.
Yeah, Tony Membrino got a piece, Daltin McCarthy, Doug Jr. got a piece, among others. Yeah, Rufrano dove it underneath Leary and dove it in so deep that he took out the leader Eilert, and that just proves me wrong. I said starting in the front was the place to be to avoid all the trouble, and look what happens. And you have about 7 or so cars that end up getting involved. A really tough start, but for Rufrano, that was a very aggressive move, and he's going to be sent to the back of the line because of it.
Unfortunate incident there. It's really frustrating when you're up there as the leader and you just get spun around. Everybody here fighting so hard for the top 3 spots. Those are the ones that transfer. Man, it's awful frustrating though when you're the guy up front and get spun around.
I don't think anybody got a lot of damage though. It looks like nobody has come to the pits yet, so we'll see if they can keep it going, if they can get another chance here. If the damage is not too bad. The damage is too bad, they're going to lose top speed, they're going to lose their handling. But right now, nobody thinks they need to pit, so we'll see what happens here. The only guy on pit road right now is Doug Meserve, so really unfortunate for him because he didn't have a lot of luck last week and it just continues now. But Tyler Leary will be the leader. Tyler Leary has won a consolation race to advance to the future before. He looks to do it again. Matt Swanson second. Not used to Matt being in a consolation race. He's usually one of the guys that are up there. In third spot is RJ Surdell. Surdell's had a lot of bad luck in consolation races. Mikey Flynn, as you mentioned, got through the mess. He's in fourth. Pete Thicket in fifth. But right now, what matters most is that third spot, RJ Surdell, the final transfer position. In the sixth spot is Mark Alkas, Matt Basser in seventh, Joseph Eilert in eighth, Daltin McCarthy in ninth, Tony Membrino 10th, Marcello Rufrano in 11th, Doug Meserve Jr. in the pits in the final spot in 12th.
We're having a lot of fun over in the YouTube chat. If you don't have that chat pulled up, make sure to get involved, get in on the conversation. There's car headlights that have been left on. Apparently, Dylan Kopech's car has been towed and is now going to be used in the Monster Truck Show coming up later this year.
Oh, good.
So if you are not involved over there in the chat, I see the name Jimmy Ward being thrown around a lot. I heard he forgot his pit pass and is now on his way back, but couldn't find a place to park. I don't know. It helps pass the time during these cautions that we never want to see. We never want to see cautions out here. But right now, we are coming towards the tail end of this one. Tyler Leary is going to be starting in first, like you said. But keep an eye on that 24 car. It has 24 stamped on the side. Mikey Flynn, he's going to make something happen to try and advance here. Let's keep an eye on it, though, with RJ Surdell holding that third spot.
Tyler Leary gets the big jump, and he's going to have to lead by about a car length or two. Swanson second. Surdell and Mikey Flynn did make a little bit of contact off of turn 4, and they make more contact, and they're both going to spin around in front of a bunch of cars. Mark Alkas involved. Matt Basser got a piece of it. Daltin McCarthy's upside down. Tony Membrino involved, and it looked like Marcello Rufrano got a piece as well. They were battling side by side off of turn 2. They made contact half a lap before, and they make more contact now, and it leads to a huge mess.
Here's a replay from the restart. We're taking a look with Rufrano there. He's riding towards the back, just cruising along, and he sees the wreck in front of him, nowhere to go. He slams on the brakes and barely gets stopped in time. I think he got a little bit of front-end damage, though. We'll see what happens.
You're riding on board Surdell right now, side by side with Glen. You could say one came up and the other came down. You be the judge, but it was just very close racing off of turn 2, and there's that 4-car McCarthy just casually laying on his roof. That was huge. That was a battle for the final transfer spot, and it just ended up in disaster. Pete Thicket got a piece of that as well. Matt Basser got a piece. Joseph Eilert, I don't know how we got through that one. Let's get an onboard of him if we can, because he barely made it through. He got a piece of it for sure, but it could have been a whole lot worse if you're looking on board that red 26 car. It all happens in front. Oh, wow. He got a little bit damaged, but it could have been a whole lot worse. He found the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, I messed that one up. But nonetheless, he found the hole and somehow got through it. He's in the pits, though, so you wonder how much damage he truly got. Because it looked like he was the people that got the least amount of damage out of all those cars. So The left front does look dented up there on the suspension, which obviously is going to hurt the car a lot. So tough luck in that case. I mean, with these open wheel cars, Jeff, any damage you make with these open wheel non-fendered vehicles, it can lead to a lot of internal damage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone saw it there on the replay, but after that wreck, his wheel was about 90 degrees to the left, and that was not at all intentional. That's not how these cars are driven if you've never been behind the wheel of one. Usually that orange tape is right in the dead center, so the fact that it was up there to the left, or over there to the left, excuse me, 90 degrees, yeah, that indicates to me that the front end's been knocked out of it, and he could be out of this race.
Tough luck for sure. Now we'll see what happens here. Looking back up the front, we're going to have single file restarts again because of the accidents, because we're only on lap 1. Tyler Leary in first. That final transfer spot does go to Matt Vassar in the 11 car. Obviously, tough luck in the heat with his computer screen blacking out and crashing very hard as a result. How much damage does he have, though? Because he did make some contact in that last big pileup. Marcello Rufrano was in the back after the previous accident before the last yellow, and now he's up to fourth, and now all of a sudden he's got a chance to advance to the feature. And that's what I'm talking about. Even though you crash early on, when more chaos happens and you find your way through, you have a chance. And that's the situation right now with Marcello Rufrano. Pete Thicket in fifth, got a piece of that last wreck. Mikey Flynn losing some spots in sixth. I don't think he got too much, though, from that one. RJ Surdell in seventh, Membrino in eighth, Joseph Eiler. Tough luck for him. Not too much damage, but I guess enough to damage that car in the suspension in the left front. Mark Alkas also in the pits, as well as Daltin McCarthy, as they get ready for the restart.
Coming to the line here, we'll see who's quick, who's damaged, but Tyler Leary just needs to focus straight ahead. Don't even look in that rear view is what I'm telling him if I'm his spotter. Hit your marks every lap and you'll be fine. You'll come out of this the winner. The top 3 are going to advance, so Matt Swanson and Matt Vassar are currently in right now. But Matt Vassar has got Marcello Rufrano behind him as there's a spin.
Pete Thicket just got turned. Mikey Flynn made an aggressive move in turn 3, was in the grass, slid up into Thicket, and that got that 99 car around and brings out the yellow yet again. They were battling behind the transfer spot. As you see Mikey Flynn in the grass in turn 3, I mean, you drive it in so deep and so shallow, you got to push up, and Tony Membrino, an innocent victim of that one. And we're running out of time in this heat race, Jeff, so you wonder how much more they can go before the time is up.
Race control, Dylan Kopech has black flagged Mikey Flynn, so he is going to be coming down pit road, not an end-of-line penalty, but a full black flag for that move. It's deemed too aggressive here. Nobody told him that Reen Acres is in turns 1 and 2, not turns 3 and 4. Got down into the grass, and right now he's in the pits. That's going to be his night.
Well, if the race does end here because of time limit, it would be Tyler Leary, Matt Swanson, and Matt Vassar getting their way in. You've seen a couple very aggressive moves in this one. We saw Marcello Rufrano dive bomb turn 3 and cause an accident, and now we see Mikey Flynn dive bomb turn 3 and cause an accident. Again, when you have Dylan Kopech race control, you just can't make those type of moves and get away with it if it ends up in an accident. We've seen that multiple times so far, and what makes it worse for these guys is that when these cautions keep coming out and the fact that we have single file restarts, it gives them less of a chance to advance from the outside because they're running out of laps, and with the single file restarts, you can't really make a move. You can't really dive to the inside or outside. So it's going to be really tough for guys like Rufrano and on back, Surdell, Membrino, to try and advance because these accidents are taking up time and it's causing them to go single file. And it's much harder to pass when you're spread out single file compared to double file bunched up.
Making passes here is pretty difficult. We've seen it. You really have to be on the inside, and you have to make aggressive moves, but you can't be too aggressive, otherwise you'll cause an accident, and that's not at all what you want to do. You don't want to end anyone else's night. You don't want to end your own night. Right now, though, I think Tyler Leary is hoping for just more cautions. Let them do their thing. He's still the leader, and with these single-file restarts, he'll be all right.
I feel like we have just as many cars on the track than we do on pit road. It's becoming a slowly developing junkyard. You got Daltin McCarthy, Mark Alkas, Mikey Flynn, and Joseph Eiler all in the pits. Flynn is getting his car repaired right now. Nope, he's gone. He just disappeared, so that's it for him. And so he will not advance to the future, it looks like. Up at the front, though, Tyler Leary doing what he's got to do. He's avoided all the chaos, and even though the leader got wrecked earlier in this race, Tyler Leary, who was in second at the time, was able to avoid it. He is the leader. The lights are off on the pace car. We'll see if they go this time by. We're only on lap 3. This was supposed to be a 10-lap race, but we're only on lap 3 because of all the yellows we've had. Matt Swanson 2nd, Matt Basser in 3rd, Marcello Rufrano 4th, RJ Surdell 5th, Tony Membrino in 6th, Pete Thick in 7th, and the rest of the cars, the rest of the field, are laying in the pits. As we come down to turn 3, the pace car pulls off. We're getting ready for the restart, Jeff.
Coming back to the restart, Matt Swanson gets into the back bumper of Tyler Leary. We have to remember the time limit could get us here. They have only a certain number of minutes, 10 minutes here to get this race done.
RJ Surdell just got turned in turn 1. RJ Surdell just got turned in turn 1. No caution, though. Pete Thicket, a big loser. He had to back off and lose a lot of spots as a result. So we'll see what happens here as they come down towards the finish. No caution, though. And looks like this will be the last lap. So Tyler Leary does win this consolation race. Matt Swanson 2nd, Matt Basser in 3rd. They advance. Marcello Rufrano will not advance, it looks like. He wasn't very aggressive in turn 1. He thought about diving in there, but he pushed up and backed off as a result. So that'll be it for the consolation race. We'll get ready for the final consi before this upcoming feature. And this time, I wasn't ahead of myself and know for the fact that there is one more consi.
Right there, starting in 4th for this race, is Mr. Glen Reen. And he was very, very close. He's been messaging me and letting me know what his thoughts are. He feels like he got cheated out of that last race. So right here, keep an eye on him. Starting in front of him, though, Dan Butler is going to be in 1st with Justin Bren in 2nd. JB Fortin starts 3rd, Glen Reen in 4th. David Arute, who had a rough heat race, starts 5th. Kyle Johnson in 6th. Joey Ternulo starts 7th. Kevin Crosby in 8th. George Bessette Jr., another rough heat race, got bumped out of the way a couple times, going to be starting this consolation event in 9th. Paul Buzel in 10th. Timmy Catalano, we have we're going to keep a running total of how many times he's flipped over. He's up to 3 in 2 weeks. Maybe he'll keep it on all 4 wheels this time in this race. Andrew Les did not take the grid, and Joshua Carey did not take the grid.
Now, in the lineup was Mark Burke. Mark Burke's been having some issues, so the technical issues are preventing him from getting a chance to race, so very unfortunate for him. Looking at the front, though, Dan Butler, he hasn't had many laps in racing. He's done racing schools, but not racing itself. But one of the few chances he did get to race was with Gary Spinato on the Rent a Race Car program. Jeff, you could probably talk about that.
Oh, I love the Rent a Race Car program. There's rumors going around that I might end up driving one of those cars. I'll talk more about that under the next caution, though. Give those boys a shout out. They are a fantastic group. Right here up at the front, Dan Butler is starting in 1st. Justin Bren in 2nd on the outside there. Glen Reen is 2nd on the outside. He's pushing and pushing and pushing. There's a wreck behind them, though, at the start of this race.
Oh, that did not take long. Joey Ternulo, Kyle Johnson, George Bessette Jr., David Arute, they were all involved in that. It just got really stacked up on the start. I don't know what caused the massive checkup, but they just checked up really badly and they were converging. They were trying to merge from 2 lanes to 1 like they're entering the highway, and it just got out of hand. We're seeing the replay right now. It just got really converged. It looked like it might have been David Arute and Kyle Johnson getting together, but nonetheless, just a rough start there. Didn't even make it to the green flag before there was contact.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Timmy Catalano, though, did work his way through. He stayed on all 4 wheels. I did mention earlier, though, the Rent a Race Car crew. So those guys, if you have ever thought to yourself, man, I would love to go out there and drive a race car. You're like me, and you've always wanted to just get behind the wheel and drive one. Well, Rent a Race Car makes that possible. They are based out of Berlin, Connecticut. Gary Spinato over there does a fantastic job running the show. He's got a great team behind him that he loves immensely. Rent a Race Car, you hit them up on Facebook, you find out everything you need to know there. But essentially, you show up, you run the practices, you run the heat race, you run in the feature at Stafford in one of their cars, they prepare it. You will be a NASCAR driver. You show up, you get your NASCAR license, you participate in the race, and it's an absolutely amazing experience. I haven't heard one complaint from anybody that's ever done it. You are driving in an actual race, they prepare the car, you show up and you drive it. It's an awesome thing. You see Chris Daniel Chuck out there, they call him Mayor McCheese because he has a McDonald's fire suit. He's in the number 94 every week. You're in a car that's just as good as his sometimes, and man, it is awesome to see. I've seen cars do really well there with Rent a Race Car. So if you are interested in that, find them over on Facebook, rent a race car, get involved in it. It is so cool to have a program like that at Stafford. So rent a race car over on Facebook. Make sure to show them some love.
You know who I'd love to see in a race car, Jeff?
Me?
Well, we can talk about that later. No, but in all seriousness, I would love to see Nicole LaRose in a race car because she was competing in the Ladies Challenge race last season and won and put on quite a show. And it was a really cool story because she raced for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and one of our colleagues at Stafford, Heather, fought breast cancer, has been fighting breast cancer for the past year and a half, almost 2 years, I believe. So a really cool story, but Nicole was really fast. She was driving Travis Hyder's 11 Street Stock, and she was running up front for most of that race, and I would love to see her try and compete in a rental race car and see how she would do, because it looks like she can wheel it. She had a couple sketchy moments for getting to enter turn 1, but I mean, that's what happens when you don't have much experience. But it was really cool in all honesty to see Nicole LaRose compete and win. Obviously one of our colleagues and someone that's very known around the racetracks here in New England. But looking at the front, Dan Butler gets the start here. He'll clear for the lead, it looks like, for second spot. Justin Bren tries to cut off Glen Reen, but Glen Reen got into the back of the 66. JB Fortin spins around back in the pack as they check up. Joey Ternulo, who was just sent to the back because of a black flag, has spun, as well as David Arute. And man, David Arute's going to be dizzy with the amount of times he's spun out, and it's not even his fault.
Let's take a look at the replay here from the beginning. You see Glen Reen there on the inside. He's going to make a big movement. That's going to be blocked by Justin Bren. Throwing a car down in front of Glen Reen might not be the best move. Glen Reen checks up hard. That causes the 34 to check up. 88 gets into him, and it's just mayhem from back there. Nobody had anywhere to go.
Yeah, Kyle Johnson got a piece. George Bessette Jr. might have gotten a little piece. Looks like restarts will go single file again as a result of these accidents we're having. It's just aggression, I guess, Jeff, and the fact that these guys really want to get in, and it just seems like these guys are trying really hard and trying really early on these restarts to gain the track position they need, because it can be hard to pass, and that's why we're seeing these accidents.
That could be the case, and you know what? There's going to be a lot of people busy working on these race cars afterwards, if this were, at the actual Stafford Motor Speedway, and we all want to get back there. But another group of people that's going to be busy, Napa Auto Parts, because they are still open. They are still operating. The last that I heard, they are certainly essential. They sponsor us over here at Stafford Motor Speedway, and there's nobody that we love more than our sponsors. They are sponsoring the Spring Sizzler, which has been moved to May 30th and May 31st. 8 divisions of racing, including the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. That is going to be an amazing event. So thank you to Napa for sponsoring us. They're going to be busy. So if you have any auto parts needs, make sure to go visit them a visit. Support the people that support us and let us do what we love. Speaking of that, how about All Phases Renovations? They are the official sponsor of tonight's event. They put up a purse of $250 with $150 of that going to the winner. They're in southeastern Massachusetts. Go ahead and give Larry a call for all your outdoor construction needs, for patios, pool renovations, outdoor bars and kitchens, decks, pergolas, and more. You can find all that, pictures and everything else over on their Facebook page, or you can give them a call and talk to them in person at 508-332-6316. They are All Phases Renovations over on Facebook. Another interesting tidbit, Larry is also the owner of Matt Swanson's Tri-Track car. Matt Swanson is racing there for his sponsor, putting on a good show, trying to win back some of his sponsors' money. So we'll see how that goes tonight. But thank you again to all of our sponsors. All Phases Renovations, Napa Auto Parts, Dunleavy Truck and Trailer, Mid-State Site Development, Call Before You Dig, Lincoln Technical Institute, Spark Virtual Reality, Mayberry Material Handling, as we get back to the green here with Dan Butler in the lead.
Boy, you said a mouthful there, but nice job nonetheless getting all that in before the green flag came out.
Woo!
Looking for the fourth spot, Paul Buzel just got past Kyle Johnson, but Johnson losing a little bit of spots now, and Kevin Crosby looks to the inside of that 88 car, but stays in line. Up front, though, Dan Butler is the leader. Justin Brent pushes off a turn 4. He runs in second. Glen Reen does have that final transfer spot in third. Paul Buzel trying to reel in that black 17 car. The gap is about a couple car lengths as Reen almost caught the wall of turn 2.
When has Glen Reen ever been happy for third place as the caution flag comes out?
Yeah, Joey Ternulo just slammed the wall in the back straightaway entering turn 3, and that has caused the engine to detonate, it looks like. So It seems like his chances of getting in the feature are over as we look at the replay. It looks like him and JB Fortin got together, and it's another ballet performance with these SK mods when they hit the walls. Pure wedding, as you mentioned, in the air. But turning a lot of damage on that 18 car. Looks like he'll be done.
Once again, 10 out of 10 on the execution of that spin, but 0 out of 10 for the chances of making this feature event tonight. That is going to be it for him.
Now, once again, Jeff, we're running low on the time limit here, so Dan Butler, Justin Bren, and Glen Reen are a good spot. If you're Paul Buzel, though, how aggressive do you have to be here if you get another chance at a restart knowing that you're running out of time?
You're going to have to make a big move and make something happen. If you're that 37 car, you need to just get around Glen Reen, but that's a tall task. I think Glen Reen isn't going to even be looking in his rearview mirror. He's going to have his guns focused on Justin Bren to try and get around him.
Yeah, at the same time, though, you got to be aggressive, but we've seen contact lead to spins, like for Buzel. Do you think you're kind of restricted here onto how aggressive you can be? Because even if Reen does get turned around as he goes in the grass again, even if he does get turned around and it may not bring a caution, there's still a chance of Buzel getting black flagged. So how aggressive can you be? At the same time, how careful do you have to be? Because this is your last chance of getting into the feature.
It's going to be very difficult to get around him, that is for sure. And like you said, it's really an art of towing the line, of seeing how much race control lets you get away with. You're really going to have to use that bumper to get around Glen Reen, I think. So we'll see how it ends up going, though. Paul Buzel, he's got a tall order ahead of him if he wants to make this race. But Glen Reen is just as desperate to make it into the feature. He wants to show us how it's done here and go win this race.
Let's give you a quick rundown of the field here. You got Dan Butler in first, Justin Bren second, Glen Reen third. Those are the top three as of now that will transfer to the feature race. Paul Buzel in fourth on the outside looking in, so is Kyle Johnson in fifth, Kevin Crosby in sixth, George Bessette Jr. in seventh, Timmy Catalano, he's kept all four tires in the ground for now. He runs in eighth, David Arute in ninth. He's had a lot of horrible luck being stuck in the back of the pack amidst the chaos. And then JB Fortin in 10th. As they get ready for the restart, Dan Butler will lead him down to the green.
Glen Reen is pushing Justin Bren's back bumper, trying to get him to go as they are coming to the green here. Remember, time is limited here, so you have to be quick.
David Arute has spun again in turn one. David Arute has backed into the outside wall. He keeps it going, though. No caution as a result. Back to the front, though. Dan Butler continues to lead, Jeff.
Looking like, oh, Glen Reen's going to go to the bottom. I was going to say, looking like David Arute tonight might be over as Glen Reen drives it in hard, touches that Nerf bar of Justin Bren. That's going to open the door for Paul to look in, but he doesn't take it. Right there, Glen Reen is up to second, looking for more. That 37, though, now he has to get around the 66, but Justin Bren is focused on getting around Glen Reen, too. We'll see how hard he dives it into turn one.
Timmy Catalano and JB Fortin both spun the back straightaway last lap, but moving back to the front, looking at that second spot is Glen Reen. As you're riding on board that 17 car, looking back at Justin Bren. Bren's got a lot of space between him and Bessette Jr., though. About a second and a half, it looks like. Bren's going to look to the inside of the arena, entering turn number one. No, the race is over. Pardon me. Lost track of the laps. The race is, in fact, over. So Dan Butler does win the consolation race. Glen Reen does advance in second. Justin Bren advances in third. And George Bessette Jr., I think it's the first time he will not make the feature race.
Well, the final three to make the event here, or the final six, excuse me, to make the feature. Wow, I can't even speak. Why don't we go ahead and take a break as these guys get the cars warmed up? I know, it's almost like, would you believe I'm a professional announcer that can't speak English? Would you believe it? But let's take a quick break here and come back to you in a couple minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in here tonight. There's a lot of you watching over on Facebook. Make sure to let us know what you're thinking and who you're pulling for. This race here tonight is sponsored by All Phases, Hardscapes, and Renovations. Give them a call at 508-332-6316. They've put up some prize money for tonight's event. It's going to be a great race. Starting on the pole, though, is Ryan Blanchard. He is in first. Teddy Hodgdon will start second. Excuse me. I'm talking about the finish, and we haven't even started yet.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
I know. Really. What am I doing? Mike Christopher Jr., the controversial almost winner from last week, will be starting in third. In fourth, Cassandra Cole, who had a great run there. Andrew Muller starts fifth. Ryan Borges in sixth. Ryan Libby will start seventh. Mr. Bryan Narducci starts eighth, with Cory DiMatteo in ninth, and Ryan Fern is starting 10th.
Starting in the 11th position is Jacob Perry. Aaron Plemons will start in 12th, Travis Hyder 13th, Robert Stirk in 14th, Jon Puleo will start 15th. Tyler Wood, one of the guys who advanced from Wednesday's race, will be in the 16th position. Troy Talman starts 17th, Peter Bennett 18th, Matthew Kimball 19th, and Kenny Horton rounds out the top 20.
Starting in 21st is Tyler Leary. These are people that all race their way in through the contees. Tyler Leary 21st, Dan Butler 22nd, with Matt Swanson 23rd. Glen Reen starts 24th, Matt Vassar 25th, and Justin Bren will round out the field starting 26th. One thing we do want to talk about here, One thing we do want to talk about here tonight, though, is for the next upcoming weeks, we've got some exciting news. We are no longer going to be racing just SK Modifieds. We're going to be branching out. You're going to see more information on this tomorrow morning. But get excited. It's going to be great. We're going to be integrating street stocks, late models, and the tour-type modifieds into this race. Those races will be presented by, the prelim nights will be presented by the Horton Group, and the main series will continue to be sponsored by All Phases Renovations. So get excited. Let's hear what you people are thinking over in the chat about seeing these guys behind the wheel, some street stocks, some late models, and other cars that you see here on Friday nights in Stafford. I personally cannot wait.
It's super exciting. I can't wait for it either. I know a lot of people are going to be excited when the announcement comes tomorrow. Let's talk about the guys who didn't make it first, if you're wondering. Marcello Rufrano, David Arute, RJ Surdell, Daltin McCarthy, Kyle Johnson, Mark Alkas, Joey Tarnulo, JB Fortin, Kevin Crosby, Pete Thickett, Joseph Eilert, Josh Carey, Timmy Catalano, Tony Membrino, Paul Bucell, Mark Burke, Mikey Flynn, Andrew Les, Doug Meserve, and George Bessette Jr. all did not make it. Pace car pulls off, though. Here we go. 80 laps. Caution laps do count. Ryan Blanchard would lead the field down to the green flag. It is in the air, and we are underway here at the Stafford North Speedway, the final week of the three-race series on iRacing.
Ryan Blanchard takes it to the grass there in turn one as Mike Christopher Jr. behind him gets up into Cassandra Cole. They make a little bit of contact, and they're all getting it all sorted out. Teddy Hodgdon slips in behind Ryan Blanchard. The battle is for fourth right now.
Oh, we got trouble in the back of the pack, though. In turn 4, one car got loose on the apron. It caused a little bit of a pileup. Trying to see who was involved in that one. There was an orange car in turn 4. It's Peter Bennett. Peter Bennett is riding the guardrail off of turn 4. He keeps it going, though, but the yellow does come out, and his car is crab walking down the straightaway, and that's a really bad start because these cars don't have resets. Looking at the replay, looks like Jon Puleo might have gotten a piece. A couple cars got into each other, but Peter Bennett, the big loser, and look at him. I don't even know how a radio broadcaster would describe what he was doing there in turn 4.
It appears Peter Bennett has become one with the wall, one with his true self, and now he is one with the wall, climbing his way up it and crab walking his way down the stretch. His car is at a 45-degree angle, and right now he's wheeling it sideways.
Is that your radio voice, Jeff?
That is my radio voice. You know, my mother says I have a great face for radio, and that's why we do these broadcasts without camera.
I can relate too, but my mother didn't tell me that. I just told myself. Looking in the pits right now, Peter Bennett is in the pits getting repairs in his car. Robert Stirk is also in the pits. He got a piece of that accident, so he's getting repaired. A couple cars wanted to be at the back of the field for the green flag. Justin Bren was given a penalty, Glen Reen, Matt Vassar, but that's because they wanted to start in the back of the pack. It was their choice. So they asked, and they were obliged. So they started in the back of the pack for the specific reason of avoiding the chaos. Justin Bren did that last week. It worked out pretty well for him. We've seen a couple drivers do it last week, like Teddy Hodgdon, Bryan Narducci. But at the same time, Jeff, look at a guy like Teddy Hodgdon. He started in the back of the pack, tried to make his way towards the front, but kept running into trouble and never got a chance to make it to the top 5. And when he did make it to the top 5 at the end, he got booted out of the way and ended up finishing 8th. So track position is so critical, and that's why qualifying is so important. And look at Teddy Hodgdon. Didn't have to worry about getting a penalty to start in the back on purpose. He's up there in 2nd spot because of his time trial and the heat race.
Made a smart move to start at the front here tonight. He experimented with it last week starting at the rear, and it just did not work out. He was so strong the first week out, and now it seems like he's had a little bit more trouble when he's not at the front. But starting in 2nd place, he's in good shape here. Do not fall asleep on him tonight. He's going to be someone to watch. The lights on the pace car are out, though. They're getting ready to come back to green.
Yeah, Ryan Blanchard, Teddy Hodgdon, Mike Christopher Jr., Cassandra Cole, Andrew Moeller, the top 5 as the pace car pulls off. The restart is at the discretion of Blanchard, and he's off. We're back underway as 5 laps will go on the board. Teddy Hodgdon files into the 2nd spot. The battle will be for 3rd between Mike Christopher Jr. and Cassandra Cole. Andrew Moeller looking underneath Cassandra for the 4th spot. Ryan Libby and for Ryan Borges also side by side.
Somehow, someway, Glen Reen managed to get a black flag before the green flag even comes out, so take that with a grain of salt, everybody. Cassandra Cole up into the wall, climbs it a little bit, but holds on as Ryan Borges works his way around. Everyone keeps safe. Cory DiMatteo tries to take advantage and get around Ryan. It doesn't work out, though.
Looks like Jacob Perry also climbed the wall as they all tried to avert disaster, so that hurt Jacob Perry a lot as well. Looking up in the front, though, at the front is still Blanchard in the lead. In the 2nd spot is Teddy Hodgdon, Mike Christopher Jr., Andrew Moeller, and Ryan Libby in the top 5. The first side-by-side battle is back towards Cassandra Cole. She is side-by-side with Bryan Narducci right now. Right behind them, a close call between Fern and
there goes Fern!
Clemens, and there goes Fern around. Clemens was right on the back bumper of Fern. I don't know if they made contact. Jon Puleo also got a piece of that one. Multiple cars involved. And that brings out the yellow again. Kenny Horton might have gotten a piece. Justin Bren, I think, might have gotten stopped. Matthew Kimball, our defending winner, also got a piece of that as well.
There was a wreck trying to avoid Ryan Fern, but let's take a look at this. Watching the replay, Ryan Fern, just the tiniest touch is all it takes here to send these cars around. He spins it, then locks down the brakes. Everyone trying to avoid, looks like the 57 machine of Jon Puleo gets tagged and goes around.
Can we get an onboard of Jacob Perry? I think that was Jacob Perry in the 21 car that somehow navigated his way past that spinning 12 car of Ryan Fern. Jacob Perry just barely missed. I think it was him. I couldn't tell if that was him or Talman, but we'll look here in the replay on board with Perry. The accident happens right in front of him. There's Fern. He makes a hard right turn and just gets past that 12 car. Nice job by Jacob Perry.
One more thing I'm sorry. Go right ahead, my friend.
Yeah, no, look at the pits right now. Glen Reen is in the pits. Justin Bren as well. Peter Bennett. Robert Stirk. Well, Peter Bennett and Robert Stirk have been in the pit since the previous caution, but Glen Reen and Justin Bren also on pit road, seeing if they need repairs on their car. But what were you saying, Jeff? I apologize for interrupting you.
No, not a problem at all. I just got word from Rent-A-Race car owner Gary Spinato, co-owner, and he has agreed to let us know that Nicole has been contacted after that last race about driving one of the street stocks, and he has generously offered for me to drive one of his street stocks, a number 6 car, at some point this summer. More to come, but just be sure. So if you are one of those people that want to get behind the wheel, I'm sure we'll work something out where you'll hear my thoughts live out there on track while I'm out there racing. You might hear a lot of yelling, and I don't know what I'm doing out here, but I'm somehow wheeling it. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and find them on Facebook, Rent a Race Car. I just wanted to throw that out there as a thank you to them, and they deserve all the love in the world. They're a great group of people there.
I kind of wonder if you're going to be in a race car. I feel like I feel some sympathetic feelings towards the flagman, because I can imagine how many times you have to throw that yellow flag out if you're in it. Nonetheless, though, let's look at the top 10.
Man, big words from an announcer. Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Maybe I'm wrong. You can prove me wrong. But nonetheless, looking here at the field, we'll give you the rundown. Ryan Blanchard is the leader. Teddy Hodgdon second. Mike Christopher Jr. in third. Andrew Moeller fourth. Ryan Libby in fifth. Ryan Borges sixth. Cory DiMatteo in seventh. Cassandra Cole in eighth. Bryan Narducci in ninth. Tyler Wood in 10th. Troy Talman in 11th. Jacob Perry in 12th. Tyler Leary 13th. Travis Hydar in 14th, Matt Swanson 15th, Dan Butler in 16th, Matt Vassar 17th, and you got Ryan Fern, Kenny Horton, and Matthew Kimball running at the top 20, followed by Justin Bren. You got Aaron Plemons right behind Bren, Glen Reen, and then the rest of the field are in the pits. Oh, there's Jon Puleo. He's catching up to the field right now. He's in the final spot on track. Robert Stirk, Peter Bennett, they're both in the pits. Looks like they'll be done in terms of competing for the win.
Yeah, Peter Bennett's car, that is certainly a lot of damage there. We said it was driving sideways. We had a radio-style call-out. Maybe maybe Kyle Rickey can help me out there with my radio calls. But Ryan Blanchard gets the lead here, and right now there's a battle for third. Mike Christopher Jr. down on the bottom. That numberless car is looking quick out there as he clears the 35 of Andrew Muller.
Now the question is, can we get some green flag laps in here? Because they did that last week. They were able to get, a good 20 or so lap run before a caution came out the midway point in the race. They look to do it again. Right now, Blanchard, Hodgdon, Mike Christopher Jr., Andrew Muller, and Ryan Borges are single file. The first battle is between Cory DiMatteo and Ryan Libby, and that's the battle for the 6th position. Libby trying to hold his own the outside line, but Cory DiMatteo is still driving in deep, trying to get past. He gets a little bit sideways in between turns 3 and 4, and Bryan Narducci is right behind him, trying to look into that battle.
Bryan Narducci thought about going through wide, thought better of it. Cory DiMatteo catches Reen Akers and sends Ryan Libby. Everyone goes around to avoid. Man, that was a close call.
Oh, that's a tough break for Cassandra Cole. She had nowhere to go and ended up getting into the spun car of Ryan Libby. Looks like he and DiMatteo did get together, and Cory DiMatteo has been given a black flag, so he'll be going to the back of the field. Let's look at a replay and see what happened. As we mentioned, they were battling for the 6th spot. Libby got the run off a turn 4 on the outside, was able to hold his own. DiMatteo drives in deep, and it looks like he slid up a little bit and turned Libby, and poor Cassandra Cole just had nowhere to go.
Unfortunately, that is just the way it happens here in racing. But let's take an onboard look at Cassandra Cole. She's going to dive it in there, just nowhere to go in front of her, tries to go up to the wall to avoid it, and just no luck at all. My goodness. So front end damage. I'm sure the toe is knocked out of that car. We'll see how she's able to drive it towards the end of this race.
She's not pitting, so she's staying on track. Ryan Libby did go to the pits after that accident, so we'll see how much damage he has and how much he can get repaired. You mentioned Kyle Rickey. I know in the Bottom Shot podcast that Kyle and Paul Arute did with Scott Taffley, the race director of Stafford, he did mention that, this keeps going on, he might give it a shot in the sim. And can you imagine Kyle Rickey trying to do a sim? Can you imagine him racing you, knowing how you race? That'd be a chaotic affair.
Wow, why don't you start throwing insults at my family?
No. I'm talking about the fact that, it's been a while since Kyle Rickey has raced.
Them.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about, Kyle Rickey hasn't raced in a while, so don't get it twisted. Come on, Jeff.
Oh my goodness.
I do want to give a quick call out though to Dan Butler in that 10 car. Dan Butler has had absolutely zero luck getting into the feature race, and he told me that if he got into the feature today, he would do pre-race donuts, and he would apologize to Dylan Kopech for doing so. And I told him that probably wouldn't be a good idea. He did not end up doing that, but he did get into the feature. He gets a little love tap by Ryan Fern from behind. But Dan Butler finally able to get into the feature race, driving a different car, not the 33 car that we used to see from him, but he's driving the 10 car, the orange and black car. We have a lot of orange and black cars in the field. But call it to Dan Butler for getting into the feature, and right now trying to compete and move up. He has some iRacing experience, and it helps for him considering he doesn't race as much as he used to or wants to. So kudos to Dan Butler in that 10 car.
Absolutely. It's always great to see. It's always so much fun getting on here on iRacing. I know from personal experience, it's not exactly the same as getting behind the wheel of a real race car. From everyone that I've talked to that drives race cars in the real world regularly, it's not exactly the same, but it's as close as you can get without putting on a fire suit. It's a lot of fun. So it's always great to see those drivers and these drivers, all these drivers that we watch every Friday night over at Stafford, coming on here and competing. How about a big mover, though? Glen Reen, 24th all the way up to 17th in just 22 laps so far. Let's get some green flag racing going, though, and we'll see if the cream will rise to the top.
Well, now we had a change here in the restarts. They will be single file. So theoretically, that should help log some laps. We'll see. Right now, 22 laps will be completed when they cross the stripe. Ryan Blanchard will lead them down to the green flag. It is in the air, and we get going single file. In second spot is Teddy Hodgdon. Moeller right on the back bumper of the 82 of Mike Christopher Jr. Might have given him a little bit of a tap as they head off of turn 2. The rest of the field is still trying to stay single file.
They start single file, they'll stay single file. Right there, Bryan Narducci thought about going to the inside of Ryan, and he thought better of it. That 24 car drove it in hard enough into turn 3 to still make the turn, but not leave the bottom open for Narducci. Right there, though, you're going to see it. Bryan Narducci sitting in 6th place. He's got some ground to make up if he wants to get up to the front. We'll see how he's able to do it.
If there's one guy that can try and meticulously, methodically work his way to the front, is Narducci. We've seen him do it before because multiple times he started mid-pack and found his way to the front. That's how he won a couple weeks ago. He was starting in the 11th spot at that race and found his way to the lead, eventually winning that event. Looking up front, though, Teddy Hodgdon is round the back bumper of Ryan Blanchard. Again, passing is not going to be easy. It just depends on who has the best skills, who can make the least mistakes. And right now, when you look at that top 5, that top 10, it's really hard for those guys to make a mistake.
Once you're sort of in your groove, hitting your marks, you know you just have to click off laps consistently here. 80 laps in this race, we're on lap 26. But a mistake on lap 79 is just as bad as a mistake on lap 1 if it ends your night. My goodness, these guys, the patience they need is unbelievable, and not many people think about that. Everyone sees it's almost like machines out there, the precision, how well everyone's driving. But keep in mind, these are real drivers with real emotions, and if they get frustrated or they lose focus, it can have bad results for them. So keep in mind and appreciate the patience and focus that this requires here to run 80 laps at Stafford.
Right from the leaders, Robert Stirk has rejoined the race after several laps in the pits trying to get his car repaired from an earlier accident. He's right in front of Ryan Blanchard. We'll see if that might cause an issue. Blanchard continues to lead, and Ryan was running in that 2nd spot for most of the race last week. Now he's got the lead, and as I mentioned, track position is so vital. Robert Stirk does pull off, though, in the back straightaway into turn 3. Looks like he's going to make his way into the pits. No, he's just letting everybody by and remerging on the track. So good on him, though, because he doesn't want to get in the way of the battles and cause any trouble. So he just rejoined the track in turn 3, let everybody by beforehand. The race continues to the front as the top 5, top 10, they're all still bumper to bumper. No one's pulling away from anybody.
Right there, you see Teddy Hodgdon just about half a car length behind Ryan Blanchard, and you wonder how much of it is Teddy Hodgdon just sitting and saving, if he's just being patient, or if he just can't get around Ryan Blanchard. I know Wolfpack Motorsports, they are a big name on iRacing in the modifieds. They are very, very talented. So Ryan Blanchard is out there racing for his team, trying to represent them well, as he has Teddy Hodgdon right there on his back bumper. The lap times, though, they are within thousandths of a second.
You're riding on board the 82 of Mike Christopher Jr. right now. Obviously, Mike Christopher Jr. led most of the race last week. Teddy Hodgdon pushed a little bit off of turn 4, allowing Christopher Jr. to close the gap a little bit. But if you're that 82 car, you're still going to be aggressive when the end of the race comes after what happened last week. He said he wasn't surprised about the black flag because the end result was 2 cars getting piled into the wall off of turn 4 in Troy Talman and Dylan Izzo. But right now, front, Christopher Jr. is round the back bumper of that 55 car. You can see him slightly correcting that car to the right. These setups can be a little bit tight entering and through the center of the corners. We have a yellow coming on the track. One car has spun off of turn 4. I can't tell. That might have been Ryan Fern. I'm not quite sure, but it does bring out the yellow flag here after a sizable green flag run.
Uh-oh. Glen Reen was involved. He made a bottom shot move going into turn 3. And just got into the 12 car. He owned up to it and is going to take the black flag here, go to the end of the line, but just got into the side of him. Everyone was able to save it and straighten it back out. So no damage, but looks like Glen Reen might be going to the back here.
Yeah, that was a very late move entering turn number 3, and the two got together. Fern just has no luck in these iRacing events. He did save it, though. It's funny because Glen Reen spun him out, but at the same time, Glen kind of helped straighten out Ryan because those two were locked together. So not too much damage, I don't believe, for those two guys as they continue on as we approach the halfway point of this one.
It's looking like race control is going to let it slide. They both said, hey, it was a racing deal. It's all good, all in good fun. Everyone's out here. There's no spot on track where they're just going to stop battling. Everyone wants to get up to the front here, and everyone's respecting their competitors, and that's great to see.
Right now, looking at the cars that are now in the lead lap, Peter Bennett looks like he's pretty much done. He never got back on track after that accident early on in the race. Robert Stirk is 21 laps down. Ryan Libby is 17 down after an earlier accident. Cassandra Cole is 16 down after her incident. Jon Puleo just pulled up behind the wall. He is 2 laps down right now.
The restarts are going to return to double file now, so these guys won't just be single file on the restart. They're going to be battling side by side for position going into turn 1. It's an honor, not a right. It's a privilege, not a right, to be able to go double file here at Stafford Motor Speedway in these iRacing events, and it looks like that we're trusting them with this very prestigious honor to be able to go back to double file. It's always some great racing, though, and we'll see if Mike Christopher Jr. is going to take them 3 wide at the start here with a big move down to the bottom. We're about halfway through, so if you're going to start moving through the field, now's the time to do it.
You were just on board with Troy Talman there. Talman has gained 10 spots since the start from 17 to 7, and you saw Justin Williams, the decal in that car. Justin Williams has designed a couple of the paint schemes in this race, including Talman and Matt Swanson. If you don't know, Justin Williams is the brother of Ronnie Williams, and Ronnie Williams, obviously the 2-time defending SK Modified champion at Stafford Motor Speedway, looking to make it 3 in a row. Justin Williams tried to get in through the Wednesday fan race. He's had a couple attempts at it. A couple of times he just fell short. But when you see that 3-car Matt Swanson and you see Troy Talman and a couple other cars, those were designed by Justin Williams.
What I want to know is, where's Ronnie Williams in these races every week? I know he's on iRacing. I've raced with him before. So that's the question for tonight for everyone to ponder over in chat. Where is Ronnie Williams? Is he in the race shop right now prepping his car for next season? We don't know for once we get back to the track. But you can all think about that and give your theories in chat while we go back under green here. The pace car pulls off. Ryan Blanchard controls the restart. He's got Mike Christopher Jr. behind him with Teddy Hodgdon on his outside. Makes the jump, but Teddy Hodgdon matched him almost step for step. Teddy Hodgdon slips in behind Ryan Blanchard, and they're side by side through the rest of the field. Right there, Mike Christopher Jr. is fighting off Andrew Muller.
The question is, with these double file restarts back now, can they get a long green flag run going? That's the main question. So far, they make it through the first lap after the restart cleanly. The battle's for third right now between Mike Christopher Jr. and Andrew Muller. Behind those guys, you got Ryan Borges inside of Bryan Narducci, who continues to slowly work his way up to the front. As the field heads off of turn 2, the front 2 remains Ryan Blanchard and Teddy Hodgdon.
Matt Vassar is working his way through the field. He started 25th, and he's all the way up to 11th now. He's trying to crack that top 10. His strategy week in and week out is start at the back, and then work his way towards the front and try and get the win at the end. You don't need to lead every lap here. You don't need to be the fastest car. You need to be the first one at the end. They're 3 wide all the way back there, and Tyler Leary gets bumped up into the wall. Looks like they're all going to hold on to it. But, man, they were 3 wide with 2 cars on the apron.
Yes, that's not going to work, but they keep it going. No caution. Andrew Muller, a couple laps ago, got knocked up the racetrack and lost several positions. He's running back in the 8th spot. He was battling Christopher for 3rd. Bryan Narducci with an aggressive move inside Jacob Perry, pushing the 21 car up the track as we have a yellow coming out. We'll see what that is for, but the caution does come out yet again.
I believe Aaron Clemens might have been involved there. He was just going into the turn. Another 3 wide instance towards the back. Let's see if we can't get a replay of it, though. We will get one right here, going down the backstretch. Big aggressive move. There's 3 wide behind him, and he just gets caught in the rear end up into the wall. We saw the same thing with Peter Bennett earlier. That wall is hungry, and it's eating race cars tonight.
It's specifically eating orange race cars, but if you got a chance to look at the replay again, that was actually probably caused by Glen Reen. Glen Reen was the one that made a late move, dive bombing inside to make it 3 wide, and the guys who was outside had to react quickly, and everyone kind of pushed up the track, and that's how Clemens ended up in the wall. Watch again, you see Reen push the inside, and I'm pretty sure that's what forced Kimball to go up the track, and eventually that caused the orange car of Clemens to end up in the outside wall really hard. Looking from up top right now, watch that black car with the gold 17 on it. Dives to the inside. I think Kimball is trying to give a little bit of room and eventually got up into both Fern and Clemens, and that's what's caused the accident. Looks like Glen Reen has been given a penalty, though, to go to the end of the line.
Well, under this caution, I encourage all of you to go to the temporary location of the double hook bar which is now considered your refrigerator. So go ahead, get a nice cold beverage. If you're under 21, have a nice big glass of water here. We are over halfway through this race, but this race wouldn't be possible without all of our sponsors. Our title sponsor is All Phases Renovations. They're the official sponsor for tonight's event. They've put up a purse of $250. Before, these drivers were just racing for pride and prestige, but starting last week, they're throwing money into it. The winner will get $150, $75 to second place, and $25 for third place. All Phases Renovations is located in southeastern Massachusetts. Go ahead and give Larry a call at 508-332-6316 for all your outdoor construction needs, such as patios, pool renovations, outdoor bars and kitchens, decks, pergolas, and more. They have some great work, and you can go and see it over on their Facebook page, All Phases Renovations. Fun fact, Larry is also the owner of Matt Swanson's Tri-Track car. So Matt Swanson currently was battling with Matt Vassar, the Slim Reaper there, but they are both sitting, well, Matt Swanson is sitting in 10th, but both of those cars are looking quick. Thank you to our other sponsors as well, though, Napa Auto Parts, who are sponsoring the Spring Sizzler. We hope to see you all at the track for the Napa Spring Sizzler on May 30th and May 31st, with 8 divisions of racing, including the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. We also hope to see you on opening night on Friday, May 22nd, with all 5 of our Stafford divisions. We also are sponsored by Dunleavy Truck and Trailer Repair, Mid-State Site Development, Call Before You Dig, the Lincoln Technical Institute, Spark Virtual Reality, who Joseph Eiler is running on behalf of tonight, and Maybury Material Handling. But back up to the front, Ryan Blanchard leads the way, getting ready here. The pace car is off, and Ryan Blanchard takes off. Mike Christopher Jr. gets to the inside of Teddy Hodgdon here. He's going to have a run going into turn 1.
32 laps to go when they cross the stripe. The battle will be for the second spot between Christopher Jr. and Teddy Hodgdon. This is your chance to gain as many positions as possible, and Christopher Jr. looks to clear Hodgdon entering turn 3. He's got the spot. Right now, Teddy Hodgdon has to worry about that 3-car Troy Talman. They're 3 wide off of turn 4. Ryan Borges pushes up the track. We have an accident in the back of the pack, though. A couple cars have gone around trying to see who that is, but it does bring out the yellow. Tyler Leary was one of the cars that went around. A couple others got involved, but it brings out the yellow yet again.
The 34 car ended up getting into the back of the 17 as Leary was a bit loose, I think. So right here going into turn 3, you see Leary keep an eye on that car, but the 34 touches the back end in, which pushes him into Tyler Leary. And hard hit to Glen Reen's right front, but no harm, no foul all around. Let's take an onboard look at Tyler Leary, though.
Tyler Leary's got to wonder what in the world happened. He thought he had 3 car lanes behind him to the next car, and all of a sudden he gets jacked up from the rear. I wonder if the 34 Stirk and the 17 Reen locking bumpers pushed Reen into Leary. That was really odd. It looks like that might have been the case. I don't know. But Leary had a 3 car length gap, and all of a sudden he just ends up getting turned around, and it looks like Stirk will be going to the back of the line. He's been penalized by Dylan Kopech, and the restarts have gone back to single file because we haven't had many laps of green flag racing during these double file restarts.
50 laps down, there's 30 to go here at Stafford Motor Speedway. I'm sorry, there's 52 laps down, which means we have 29 laps to go here at Stafford Motor Speedway. I'm running a little bit behind here. These cars are going just too quick for me when they're under green flag, so I fell a little bit behind there. Apologies for it. 53 laps. I know, I'm way far behind, but the lap times here are pretty quick. We're seeing laps by our leader, Ryan Blanchard, towards the end of this run here, as I cycle over to look for his lap times, excuse me. But towards the end of the last run here under green, he was running 18.8s, and earlier 18.862, 18.839. Very, very consistent, and that's what's most important, is you don't have to be the fastest car. You just have to be quicker than the guy behind you, and you have to be the first guy to cross the line at the end of the race. You don't have to put down the fastest lap time. You don't have to be the fastest guy out there. You have to be the first one to reach the line. That's the end of it.
Now, we've talked about the theme here of once you're in the front, it's really hard to not keep your position in the front. We talked about in the past Mike Christopher Jr. leading most of the laps last week. We talked about it with Teddy Hodgdon. We talked about it with Cory DiMatteo before he was involved in the wreck a couple weeks ago. Now it's Ryan Blanchard. And now with the single file restarts and the fact that the leaders decide when the field goes, when the pace car pulls off, his advantage is bigger than ever, and it's going to make it even harder for guys like Christopher Jr. Teddy Hodgdon to try and get past that orange 9 car. Maybe 2 weeks in a row, we'll see a fan get their way into the feature and end up winning.
Well, that's a good $150 payday for a fan out there racing. Most of these drivers, if they win $150, that's going right into their race cars. But these fans, I don't know what that's going to end up going into. Maybe they'll be going and taking that money over to All Phases Renovations or Napa Auto Parts, spending it there. Once again, thank you to our sponsors for this event. Be sure to support the people that support short track racing, the local track racing, I should say, because they're the ones that make this possible. Without them, we would have absolutely nothing. Right now, we go back up to the front, though. Coming out of turn 4 is Ryan Blanchard. Steps on the gas. Mike Christopher Jr. right behind him. He's going to do everything he can to run that 9 car down and get around him.
Back in the 4th spot, Bryan Narducci got a really good jump on Troy Talmy. He's going to try and take that 4th position away from that 3 car. But right now at the front, Mike Christopher Jr. did time his restart pretty well. He didn't lose much time on Blanchard when they got the jump off of turn 4. But back in that 4th spot, the side-by-side battle continues between Narducci and Talman.
A great battle back there, but the top 3 cars are all within, I'd say about 4 car lengths of each other. 3 cars within 4 car lengths. We'll see how well that works. As right there, you see Troy Talman get shoved up out of the way by Bryan Narducci. An aggressive move makes it work, and Andrew Muller is going to take advantage as well, trying to get around Talman. Right there, you don't want to see it. Someone stuck up on the outside. It's very, very difficult to find your way back in line.
That's on line. You can try and hold your own, but it's not going to be easy. And right now, Muller gets a little bit loose off of turn 4. That might have been Talman's saving grace. He'll be able to get back in line in that bottom. The guy on the outside right now that's stuck is the car of Tyler Wood. He has DiMatteo and Muller underneath him, and right now there's about 3 or 4 cars lined up on that bottom line, and Wood's not going to find his way back in unless DiMatteo gets bumped from behind by Borges, so it looks like Tyler Wood will find his way in line.
And that's exactly what Cory DiMatteo wants to see, because you just want the guys behind you battling. It slows both of them down. But right now, everyone's all sorted out single file. You see Matt Vassar, the Slim Reaper, right there in 10th. But looking back towards the front, Mike Christopher Jr. about a 10th and a half off of our leader, Ryan Blanchard, who just ran an 18:77. Very quick lap time, a couple thousandths quicker than Mike Christopher Jr., but the fastest of those 3 is going to be Ryan Blanchard. Teddy Hodgdon, an 18:794 to Christopher Jr. 795. Those 2 are within 1/1000th of a second of each other with these past laps.
19 laps to go for Blanchard, trying to hold off as Tyler Wood got knocked off the track off of turn 2, got it sideways, but I think he kept it straight. They're still sorting it out back there. Matt Vassar takes some evasive action, Jacob Perry. But at the front right now, Blanchard is holding his own. There's 18 laps to go. Will they go the rest of the way under green? We'll find out.
You see on the back bumper of that 9 car, Wolfpack Motorsports. They are a very competitive team here on iRacing. They run the modifieds primarily, and they are bad fast week in and week out in the official races. They've got some very strong setups. But even still, they're showcasing their driver talent here tonight with Ryan Blanchard. All of these drivers are on the same setup. They are all running exactly the same equipment. They can't even change the air pressure in the tires. They are all running the exact same equipment. Let's take a look, though, at this Wolfpack car. He's got a big rearview mirror full of Mike Christopher Jr. That's not something you want to see. If there's going to be anyone behind you, boy, you hope it isn't the 82, because he'll make sure he gets in front of you.
Well, he showed it last week when he bumped the top 2 out of the way on the last lap. The first battle on track just got sorted out. Tyler Wood fell back. He got a little bit loose off of 4 just now. He was battling with Matt Swanson and Travis Hyder. That was a battle for the 11th, 12th, and 13th spot. Hyder pushes up in turn 1, but Tyler Wood finally able to get back in line. They single out. Right now, the field is starting to spread a little bit. When they come back to the line, there will be 13 laps to go. 14 laps to go, actually.
They're still battling at the front. Do not take your eyes off of it there. It's about 1 car length between Ryan Blanchard and Mike Christopher Jr. And sitting in 3rd, falling back a little bit, is Teddy Hodgdon. About a second behind him is Bryan Narducci. Not a factor in this battle for now. He's got 13 laps now to try and get up to the front. But Mike Christopher Jr. doing everything he can. He's quick enough to catch Ryan Blanchard, but like we've said during this broadcast, that doesn't mean he's fast enough to pass him. But let's go on board with Mike Christopher Jr. Working on this. Feeling the absolute heck out of that car, giving it everything it's got to try and get around that Wolfpack Motorsports machine, piloted by Ryan Blanchard.
12 laps to go now. Laps winding down very quick. When you got the field spread out, the laps will flash by. It's just 18 seconds per lap. So Mike Christopher Jr.'s got to think, when do you make your move? Do you try to make the bottom shot move? Do you try to use the bumper? He's got a couple options. He's going to look to the inside of Blanchard right now into turn 1. They're side by side for the lead. Christopher pushes up a little bit. Blanchard tries to get the run off of turn 2. He still has the edge. The gap is about a half a car length. Blanchard tries to cut him off. They get together right now. Blanchard tries to save it, and somehow he does. Here comes Teddy Hodgdon. They split Blanchard. They're 3 wide for the lead as they head to turn 1. It's Christopher versus Hodgdon.
My goodness, how did he hold on to that car? Phenomenal work to drive that car. Ryan Blanchard owns up and says it's his fault, apologizes to Mike Christopher Jr. Give the lead to him, but look behind. Bryan Narducci has closed down the gap while they were all fighting. Give the lead to Mike Christopher Jr., but a car length behind Teddy Hodgdon. You can't count out any of these top 4. They can all make it happen.
9 laps to go. Do we make it all the way without a caution? We'll have to wait and see. But Mike Christopher Jr. looking for redemption after last week. One of the few times we've seen a long green flag run where we have an intense battle for the lead, and boy was it intense. And Blanchard now finds himself in the 3rd position. If you're Hodgdon, what do? Teddy's known for being one of the cleaner racers out there on the track in real life, but is he going to use the bumper here at the virtual track to win this virtual race?
He's got some great equipment and a great setup under him every week. They know something that it seems like nobody else has figured out. But right here, when everyone's running the same setup, you got to use that bumper. You have to make the big moves. You have to get a little bit closer than he is right now. There's a lot of things you need to do, but let's see if he's able to do it. Take a look on the gearbox of Mike Christopher Jr., though. You see that Hodgdon machine behind him? Man, that is someone that has a shot at winning this race and is going to do anything he can to come home in victory lane and win that prize money from All Phases Renovations.
Christopher Jr. had a lot of bad luck last year in real life. He's had a lot of bad luck virtually so far in this series. Looking to change that right now when they come back to the stripe. 5 laps to go for Mike Christopher Jr. He is slightly pulling away from Teddy Hodgdon. It's about a car length gap. That's a big gap with these equal cars. If Mike Christopher Jr. does not make a mistake, he might be in good shape.
That's exactly what he needs to do, is be perfect. Right there, you see them running almost identical lines. Teddy Hodgdon is drifting up a little bit more off the corner, but not too much. Both of these guys doing everything they need to do. The last 4 or 5 laps is where we saw all the action last week. We saw Mike Christopher Jr. make a big move to the bottom and make it kind of stick, but it used 2 other cars to make it happen. Right there, I don't think we're going to have this issue. It's going to come down to a battle between Teddy Hodgdon and Mike Christopher Jr. 3 laps to go.
Blanchard has made it off, so it is going to be between the top 2 here. Mike Christopher Jr. 4 wins in the SK Modifieds. Teddy Hodgdon, the SK Modified rookie here in 2020. The 2 go at it. These 2 have had a lot of experience on iRacing. They're very fast in the Modifieds. 2 laps to go when they cross the stripe. What's Teddy Hodgdon going to do? Can he gain enough time? It's going to be really hard. If he gains a little, Mike Christopher Jr. gains it back. A lap and a half to go.
Mike Christopher Jr. is the highest ranked Tour Modified driver on iRacing. Of everyone that's raced the Tour Modified car this season and last season, he's ranked higher than all of them. Let's see if that knowledge carries over to the SK Modifieds. 1 lap to go here, the white flag's out.
The gap remains at a car length. It hasn't really budged. This could be it. Mike Christopher Jr. is a half a lap away. Coming through 3 and 4. Black flag last week, looking for the checkered flag this week. Redemption for Mike Christopher Jr. He wins the 3rd and final race in the SK Modified iRacing Series at Stafford.
No controversy this week as we see Cory DiMatteo fly on up right there. But no controversy this week for Mike Christopher Jr. He's going to win this race and $150 in his pocket, courtesy of All Phases Renovations. Teddy Hodgdon is going to come home 2nd with Ryan Blanchard in 3rd. But let's take a quick break as these guys bring it to victory lane. just witnessed a fantastic race, and Mike Christopher Jr. is going to come home the winner. $150 richer thanks to All Phases Renovations. A $75 bonus is going to go to Teddy Hodgdon, and Ryan Blanchard comes home third with $25 in his pocket, again, courtesy of All Phases Renovations. Thank you to them for sponsoring this and putting up some prize money. Bryan Narducci brings it home fourth with Troy Talman in fifth, Andrew Muller in sixth, and Cory DiMatteo finishes seventh. Ryan Borges in eighth. The Slim Reaper started 25th and finishes ninth, our biggest mover on the night. And finishing 10th is Jacob Perry.
In the 11th spot is Tyler Wood. Matt Swanson comes home 12th. Travis Hydar 13th. Matthew Kimball 14th. Justin Bren in the 15th spot. Kenny Horton in 16th. Dan Butler 17th. Tyler Leary in the 18th spot. Glen Reen 19th, the last car on the lead lap. Cassandra Cole, after an accident, finishes 18 laps down in 20th.
Finishing in 21st, 19 laps down, is Ryan Fern. 22nd, Robert Stirk. 23rd, Aaron Plemons. Jon Puleo finishes 24th, with Ryan Libby 25th, and Peter Bennett, his car got eaten by the wall, really, finishes 26th. Up here in the booth with us, we are joined by our second place finisher, Mr. Teddy Hodgdon. First off, Teddy, we saw that battle going on there at the end. What more did you need in order to catch Mike Christopher Jr.? We saw the shot at the bottom shot, move in turn 3. What more did you need at the end?
I honestly don't know. Me and Mikey were so even there. Ryan had to protect his position when Michael tried to get underneath him, and he was just not clear enough, and they all slowed up, and I had to try something there because they were really slow off the corner, and I just had enough room to fit under Ryan. And Michael just had enough speed off the corner, and we ran basically the same lap times for those last 10 laps or whatever. So, and just it's just so even with all these great drivers here, me and Michael and Ryan and all the rest of the guys up in the front there. It's just really hard to compete with these guys. So I'll take a second place any day.
A great second place finish. I see that car is all rigged up for the Sid's View Modified Tour. If you guys haven't seen it, Sid's View put together a great series. It's called The Show at Stafford Motor Speedway. Absolutely phenomenal thing. I also see a nice little bottled up sticker on the side of that car. So much appreciated there, Mr. Hodgdon. You had a great race here tonight, but who do you have to thank for a second place finish?
I got to thank all my real life sponsors, Monterey Fuel, Business Time Motorsports, A. Papa John Construction, Pete Madden, Nest Auto, State Cutters, Jim Welding, Ultimate Restoration, Ryan and Mikey for running us really good there. It was an awesome battle there. Spotter Brandon Wilkinson, Drew from Epic Media, and all family and friends watching at home. Thank you, guys.
Well, you had a fantastic race out there. You've been absolutely dominant in these past couple of weeks. Are you expecting the same thing to see here in these next couple of weeks where we race the street stocks, the late models, and the tour mods? Are you expecting to be just as strong?
Well, I sure hope so. I mean, it's going to be a different challenge for sure with the tour mod. A lot more power, same rubber and everything. But, I expect the same guys to be right up front there. These guys have a lot of experience in the seat. So it doesn't matter if we're running street stocks or tour mods or whatever. These guys will always be fast. So I'm up for the challenge.
Never one to turn down the challenges, Mr. Teddy Hodgdon. Congratulations on your second place finish once again. Right now, we are joined by Mike Christopher Jr. in the booth. Bonsa, take it away.
You got a copy, Mike Christopher Jr.?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the win. After what happened last week, obviously with the black flag at the end, how aggressive were you willing to be this week to get the win?
I felt like I toned it down a little bit from last week, but obviously Blanchard was fast, and with these cars being so close and the track and the line being so close, it's hard to really get a run on someone and set them up. But I had that shot there, and I didn't want to really do anything dumb yet. I usually save that for 2 to go, but I felt like he did what he had to do and came down there into 3, but we prevailed. So, I mean, it was a great race. So congrats to him too. He did a hell of a job.
Yeah, what was your perspective there of that excursion between you and him? Because you did get the inside, you guys made contact, and then you had to worry about Teddy Hodgdon.
Yeah, we made the contact, and thankfully he's didn't overcorrect and back up into us. But Hodgdon was there into one, but the top really rolls, especially when you have advantage of the guy that's inside of you. So I just kept it up there in the second groove, and didn't try to pinch him and potentially get hit or spun out. And the top rolls, so I got to clear him into turn 3, and then I don't know, that was probably 10 to go. So I just said, hit my marks and bring it home, and that's what we did.
How nice is it? How sweet of a redemption is it to get the win after last week?
Yeah, I mean, it feels really good to win the series or the race in general. I mean, last week was definitely exciting, but it feels good to do it without a black flag. So I was pretty excited when I won.
Who do you got to thank for this win?
Well, I finally got to put my sponsors on the car. I did it last week, but it didn't show up in the broadcast. But I had Sign Pro on the back in the hood, Mohawk Northeast up on the air dam, and Sean Waddell Communications on the C panels. Also, who put up the money, All Phases Renovations, thanks to them. I mean, it's great that they're supporting us and what we do in these times where we can't go out and gather at Stafford and race real life, which is something that we all want to do. But to be able to come here and race with all the same guys and put on a good show for the fans, and that's pretty cool that we're able to do that. So thanks to All Phases for doing that, for putting the money up.
Is this the end of your bad luck?
I don't know. This is a game, so I don't know if it'll venture over to the real life spectrum, but I sure hope so. But I sure hope that we start racing first, and maybe the bad luck will turn around for the 2020 season. But I'm just looking forward to getting on the track in real life. Hopefully that's sooner than later.
I think we can all agree with that. Hey, congratulations, Mike Jr. on the $150 and the win.
All right, thanks, guys, and to Stafford, thanks.
All right, now we'll bring in our third place finisher, Ryan Blanchard. Go ahead, Jeff.
Ryan, you were leading out there for most of the race. You started on the pole. So walk us through that incident there where you threw the block on the 82. Were you expecting that to work, or did you know going in it was going to be, it is what it is?
Yeah, I knew going in it is what it is, I knew it was my only way that I was going to keep the race lead. I knew I was going to get freight trained by Teddy and Mike on the top. So, I just tried to do what I could do to keep the race lead. And, I put myself in that position by getting loose off of 4, and Mike got a run going in 1 and got under me. He passed me as clean as possible, and, I just choked.
Well, it looks like you still managed to do a pretty good job, though. You come home in third. I'm curious, what are you going to spend that money from All Phases Renovations on?
I don't even know, man. This is unbelievable. I just didn't even think I was going to be able to finish this good in these 2 races altogether, I knew that the 5 fans that transferred from Wednesday were going to be pretty good as well.
They certainly are. It's we're very impressed with everyone that's raced their way in. We're certainly impressed with you. You started on the pole and finished third in this race. Who do you have to thank for that run?
I got to thank everyone at the rally point, my mom and dad, Epic Media, Wolfpack Motorsports, Teddy Hodgdon. We were working with them all race there on the restarts. Mike Christopher for understanding, that I chopped him into 3 and knowing that I had to do what I had to do to keep the race lead. And Brandon Wilkinson, he spotted me a little bit tonight, and Andrew Moeller, Matt Swanson, we had communication all night.
Well, congratulations on that third place finish. Enjoy your prize money courtesy of All Phases Renovations. Hopefully we'll see you here next week, though. You had a fantastic run. How are you expecting to stack up in the other cars?
I hope we stack up pretty good. We do pretty good in the street in the SK. My bad. We do pretty good in the SK here, and I hope we could transfer that over to other divisions. I also forgot to thank Waddell Communications.
Well, again, congratulations on that third place finish, and hopefully we will see you up here in the booth again next week.
Sweet. Thank you.
Well, everyone, that was a fantastic race here tonight. Bonza, any last thoughts?
These last few weeks, the races get crazier and crazier, and it all comes to a dramatic end, it seems like. This time, though, the dramatic moment, the climax of it all happened with about 10 laps to go. You were wondering if Mike Jr. was going to be aggressive or if he was going to wait for a mistake, and he got a good run off of turn 4, made his move, and boy, it got exciting for that lap and a half or so. They got 3 wide, but in the end, Mike Jr., sweet redemption for him after last week's black flag. He comes home in first.
You are absolutely right. Redemption, that was absolutely phenomenal. Coming up these next couple weeks, though, if you want to get involved with these fan races, I've heard rumor that registration is going to be open again tomorrow for the fan races. Wednesday, April 22nd, it's going to be 50 laps in the street stocks. On Wednesday, the 29th, 60 laps in the late models. And on May 6th, it's going to be the Tour Type Modifieds, 80 laps. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal there. It's going to be really great racing these upcoming weeks. So if you want to get involved and have a chance to race your way in on Friday nights, go ahead and make sure you register over on Stafford, but we're going to have a whole lot more information coming up. The next 3 weeks, we're going to be seeing the street stocks on the April 24th. On May 1st, it's going to be the late models, and on May 8th, it's going to be the Tour Type Modifieds for 80 laps. All to be coming up here shortly. But let's wrap this show up here. Thank you again to All Phases Renovations for helping us out here and sponsoring this event, putting up some prize money for these guys. Thank you to our organizer, Stafford Speedway, and Paul Arute, who's been working so hard behind the scenes with everyone today. Thank you to the team today, myself, Jeff McConey, Bonta, Sean Ambrose, and Dougie Beard, who make these shows possible. Thank you to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed on the screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Be sure to shoot them a follow on Twitter to stay up to date. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSRCHANNEL, that's GSR Channel. Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Gram. Don't forget to head on over to the GSRC YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't already, so that you don't miss a moment on the Global Sim Racing channel. Our next race is going to be next Friday night in the Street Stocks. We also have more upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Sean and I are going to be doing a race in about an hour and 15 minutes over there at the Talladega Super Speedway, so if your urge for racing has not been scratched quite yet and you want to see more, be sure to tune in here on the Global Sim Racing channel. But on behalf of everyone here at GSRC and the Arute family, good night, everybody.